Mr. Steve, what are we starting with?
Are we starting with little pills?
Go pills from Forest? Oh no, from Warwick. I didn't bring a glass. I just realized we're live and I don't even have a glass. I'm gonna have to go grab one. Look at me.
Welcome
Drink
to
from the
Might Be
can.
Brews,
Or bottle, or Magnum,
where John does
or
not
bag
have a
of beer if
glass,
you got it.
so he's got to go get a glass. He's
Magnums.
probably only
That's the
grabbing
move right
one
there.
beer.
That's it, right?
There he is. Look out.
Just
You
drink
know
it.
what I should have done is if I was really thinking ahead, I have a like a pounder koozie from Equilibrium when I came up to visit last time. And if I was really on my game, I could have had that on screen, but what are we gonna do?
We gotta
All right,
get you
guys.
you gotta carry your bag to the table like I do. Then I don't have to leave.
I got it. I got it. Cooler bag and everything. All right, let's get this thing kicked off. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Might Be Brews. My name is John, and with me, as always, Mr. Steve. How you doing today?
When are we gonna get our theme music back?
I know.
We need our theme music back.
I know. So you guys that don't know, we've been doing this live stream now since the pandemic, and we used to actually do a legit podcast with a board, professional mics and headphones. We'd go to breweries. We'd have people come to our studio and sit down and do it. And now, like everybody else, we're doing it from home. But man, we had sound effects and theme music, the whole deal. But this will happen. Yeah. But our special guest from Equilibrium Brewing, we have co-owner and brewmaster Pete Oates, and brand ambassador. Is that the right title for you, Mr. Rivera?
Yeah, you can. Brand manager, brand ambassador, either one's fine.
Awesome. Hey guys, thank you so much for hanging out.
Degenerate.
Yeah. So what are you guys sipping on? Why don't you guys tell me what you're drinking before we get started?
Go ahead, Pete. You start.
So I'm drinking a beer called Integration. And so this is a pretty cool beer where we polled about 500-600 people about what they wanted us to brew. And we took the collective results from the beer community. And then we integrated the results and put every single result into this beer. This is the non-adjunct version. So it's just a blend of about 5 or 6 hops.
Nice.
But we figured in a time where people can't really hang out that they would help brew the beer. So this is sort of a community, we call it Community Juice Series. And we're going to go through and start picking individual beers and brewing them as well.
Nice. Very cool. How about you, Will?
For myself, I'm drinking Empty Calories from Voodoo.
Okay.
Like this beer is just, I went through a few of these 4-packs already, and I'll tell you what, this is amazing right here.
What
Voodoo,
kind of beer is it?
Pittsburgh?
Lemon Pete. But this is an easy drinker right here. This is phenomenal. I'm in love with it. They're a Pilsner. They hit it big on this one.
Nice.
Helps you fight the COVID-15, which is an important battle too.
Very cool. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about right off the bat is we got really exciting news. I feel like there's already a good demand. People know about your brand here in at least southeastern Pennsylvania, but we heard this week that you guys are going to start shipping to Pennsylvania. Can you guys tell me about what made you go with that decision and how you're going to pull it off?
Yeah, the bat virus made the decision for us, basically. But in a time where we can't really socially gather anymore, we started the direct-to-consumer shipping, and we feel that's the best way to keep people safe right now, because our business model used to be come hang out on Saturday morning, buy the hundreds, we'll have a release, we have a barbecue program going on. We would get over 1,000 people there on a Saturday, and then now that's not safe to do that. And we have a large fan base in Pennsylvania that would come up to see us on the weekends. And so we figured this is the safest way to get our beer out to people. Also, there's a guy named Grapefoot, and this is a good way to make him stay in Pennsylvania. Just like that, too.
Shout out Grapefoot.
Shout out Grapefoot.
Just kidding, Grapefoot. Not really.
So, for us, Pennsylvania, since it's so close to New York, it's such a good market, and we do get a lot of people from there, but we're out there a lot too. We do a lot of mobile can sales before pre-COVID, and we were doing a lot of distro out there, like just doing some fun events that we were having on our own out there, and the people would show up by the 100. It was amazing. The community, the people. Pennsylvania is an amazing, phenomenal place. So what better way to, put more beer out there, like Pete's saying, but, be able to ship it to people's houses at this point, and get it to the people that were always supporting us. So,
have you guys been in a distribution model for a while?
Yes.
In New York?
We were
You mean like the direct-to-consumer model?
Well, not so much that. Like, do you guys put cans in beer stores and liquor stores in New York?
No.
I mean, not really. We were sending some eggs out to draft accounts, but before that, it was mostly on site. And then, we'd send some beer with Will wherever he was going, sitting by a window doing mobile can sales. But I think that's all changed with the sort of COVID and the laws being shifted to try to keep people safe and having beer show up at people's doorsteps.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's interesting because, I'm always fascinated when I talk to different brewers and different companies, what makes them choose their model, because some people seem to dive right into distribution and getting cans out to beer stores and liquor stores and things like that. And some people hold that really close, and they want their can sales, right out of their own door and things like that. So I'm always curious why companies choose one model or another.
I mean, I think we're sort of in unprecedented times with what's going on in the world right now, but for a couple of reasons. But this way, in Pennsylvania and in New York and some of the neighboring states, we can get beer basically next day from the canning line to people's doorsteps. And we're doing a lot of repackaging and shipping, and we've just formed a partnership to use 100% recyclable liners to keep the beer cooled. And so we've done a bunch of to make sure it's fresh, but we can literally get it from the canning line to people's doors the next day. People can come pick it up, but we think that's the best way to get the beer as soon as possible and as fresh as possible.
Yeah,
and also keep our staff safe.
Yeah,
and keep the consumers safe.
So for us too, when we used to put it in stores, because I see what you're talking about, like what would make them do it or not. We wanted to build that experience that we give everyone every Saturday when they come to the brewery. We're there with you. We're drinking with you. We're sharing beers with you before, pre-COVID. So when we send beers out, we physically want to be there when the beer's in the store. We want to have that relationship with the people and talk to the people that are buying our beers and be able to, talk about our beers and the brewery and what we do. So we decided to do this mobile can sale that we would go and we would physically be there. It was great.
Yeah, we always said, because we're kind of beer drinkers ourselves. Will has been in beer line since he was like 16. I was about 18. And we've always figured we're in the experience business. We're not in the beer business. We're in the experience business. And we want people to hang out and have a good time. We're very much part of the beer community because we started in the beer community. And so that's a real important thing to us, to try to keep that line share going, that, we're drinking, we're hanging out and having fun, because we spent most of our life on the other side of the beer game. And we want to make sure that the things that we enjoyed, being in the line life on early mornings and getting to know all these wonderful people, that we can give that back from what we had, because it's what we expect, because where it came from.
So for me sitting here in Pennsylvania, I want some Equilibrium. What's my next step? Am I going to Facebook? Am I going to Instagram? Website? What's my next step? I want to get some stuff delivered. Where am I going?
Website. You can go right to our website. But I'll tell you what, better yet, if you're on our Instagram page and you see us, we post all our beers beforehand. Whether it goes to Instagram, it goes to Facebook, our fan page. So we post it in multiple places. But from there, there's usually a link you can get on right to our website, and you can get our beer right from our website and purchase what you need and get the delivery done. And usually our deliveries, depending on where you are, it could be anywhere within 24 hours up to 72 hours usually. for the most part.
That's
I
not
was-
bad.
80. I looked at some of the numbers. About 80% are within 24 hours
Yep.
right now.
It's really good.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. And you put in some 248 ounce ice packs and a bit of a liner, and the beer is coming out ice cold, which is, as you guys probably know, is really important for the hoppy styles.
So how is the beer getting to my house? Is it a carrier? Is it UPS, FedEx? How are they actually getting to me?
So we do both actually, but depend. We usually, I want to say, what do you think, Pete? We usually more FedEx than anything at this point, or you
Right now, I think we're more UPS.
UPS? Sorry, so UPS more than anything. So yeah, the carrier will bring it right to you.
Got a shout out
What
from
happened
Andy
there?
saying hi.
Oh, Andy,
What's up, Andy?
what's up, Andy?
Who doesn't Andy know?
I don't know. I can go to any state and walk into a brewery and they know her. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's wild. So what other states do you guys ship to right now?
We got New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Nevada, New Hampshire,
Nevada.
North Dakota, Virginia, and DC.
Wow. Why Nevada? Is
Yeah,
it just
Nevada.
shipping laws? That's random.
Yeah, actually, it's a lot of it is shipping laws. You know, we get a lot of people in Jersey. We hear you, but it just comes down to the laws, basically. You know,
Gotcha.
we would if we could, but it's a lot of the state laws. They're not letting anyone ship yet. So
Just tell them it's yeast samples. It's all good.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
So how do you guys pull off these mobile can sales? Because I remember maybe a few months ago, our local
how did we
distributor,
pull them off?
our local distributor that we go to often, Exton Beverage, promoted that you guys were going to be there. I was like, how does that work, and how do you guys get the beer down there?
So what we do is we give Will a window, and he sits by it. No, I'm just kidding.
So we dealt with 31st and Ward, so our distributor, that's for that area. We would send in the beer, but beforehand we had it planned out. We wanted to make sure we were in the best places possible that had history when it came to craft beer and that were well known in these areas that we went to. And so we decided together, we chose the places together, and we'll set a date. We knew what beers were coming down. We'll do a post. They would do a post. The place that we're at was doing the post. So we had this whole thing planned out beforehand. We put a lot of work into it. So when it finally got there, I would show up. The beer was there, and we'd have it'd be a good time. Be out there on the line with everyone, hanging out, drinking, having fun.
Yeah, I love that approach. It's such a neat way to get out and make sure that like a representative's there when you're doing a can release, and there's a face to it. And I think there's so much to that. I mean, you can have a beer wherever and it can taste good, but like when you have it with good people and it's a great experience, it takes it to another level where
Exactly, it's the experience.
Yeah, exactly. Like you were saying, selling the experience. I think that's so huge, and I don't know. I think that's a great approach. Of course,
like it's just fun. It's just a good time for everybody.
And you get to meet a lot of new people, and plus the people in these places, in these stores or the restaurants or places that you're at. It's just you get to build a whole new friendship and family with other people out there that are supporting you. As a brewery, which is pretty cool. It's you can send beer anywhere, honestly, at the end of the day. But wouldn't you want to meet and know the people behind that your places that you're at? That's where I think it counts a lot. Like getting to meet these people that are behind the scenes doing this is for us is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things I like about doing this show is when you get to know people's history and what went into them opening the brewery, what they're passionate about. I mean, it kind of opens somebody's eyes where they've heard about the brewery or maybe heard somebody else talk about it, seen a post on social media, But then when they hear that story, and there's so much more meaning behind just that can, that if they do see it on a shelf or they do make that trip out to the brewery, it's just that much more special. And I've said it 100 times. I feel like education is where it's at for our industry. There's so many more potential drinkers out there that if we just keep getting the word out, doing everything we can to educate people and get them into the industry and into enjoying craft beer, that's hopefully going to help everybody out. There's more people that want to try new things. So, that's kind of what we're about. But I love your guys' approach to all that.
Thank you.
I'd really like to get into your history as a brewery. How long have you guys been open?
So I think the first time we started talking about beer was in like 2009.
Okay.
And then I destroyed my house for about 5-6 years. I was doing about 6 batches a day, which is a lot of beer.
You were
I get a
home
little OCD about some of the stuff. And then I think we started seriously putting a brewery together in about 2015 is when we started going, all right, we're really going to do this. And we started talking to banks and looking at buildings. And then I think we were, Will, do you remember our first can release was good?
Yeah.
Like 2017?
We opened
June?
up November 7th, 2016 was the first time we opened the brewery. The first time
for brewing, yeah.
Yeah, so for brewing. The first can release was like June.
It was June, I think, right?
Yeah, June 9th, 2017 was something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we're fairly young if you go by like can years.
Yeah, but we released the bottle, so people don't know sometimes because they see a lot of cans from us. But released the bottle was our first actual release.
They're in back again, apricot peaches. Yep.
So I think when I Googled you guys, Pete, you came up, and I think the article started out with something like you were a big craft beer fan, going to Vermont all the time, doing the line life thing. How did that end up translating into you opening your own place?
So I was at an environmental engineering consulting firm, and taking a step back before that, I got my doctorate from MIT in environmental engineering, which is basically concentrations of stuff in water. And my co-founder Ricardo and I were at the same firm, and he sort of was like, you're really into this heady topper thing. And I would take crazy trips uphill Farmstead and like, I just spent 11 hours in a car and got one bottle.
Yeah, right.
And he was like, look, you're one of the smartest people I've ever met about concentrations of stuff in water. And that's kind of what beer is at its scientific level. Why don't you just start figuring out how to make it, and I'll work on the business side. And so that was probably back in, I don't know, early 2000s. And then it started getting serious like 2011, 2012. And so we were kind of doing a lot of batches at my house, and we got fortunate enough to be introduced to this lovely woman named Jen Kimmich. You guys may know her as the co-owner of Alchemist. And so she spent a little time with us and kind of talked us through some important stuff about opening a brewery. And they were one of my favorite places to go because John used to give such a good experience on the line. He'd pull his red water wagon down the Rhine, hand out glasses of Heffenweiser and all types of stuff, even though you were in line for like a triple IPA. We said there weren't really a lot of places in New York at the time making beers at the quality of the Vermont scene. We had Alchemist and Fiddlehead, and of course Hill Farmstead. Sean Lawson was killing it, and so we're like, let's stop doing these 11-hour trips, and we'll make beer like this for us. And plus, we got to know so many people in the beer community, and we were like, we can have this sense of community at our own place now. So we purchased a building in Middletown, New York, which is literally the town in the middle of myself and Ricardo. And then we met this crazy. I don't want to swear, right? This crazy guy named this crazy guy named Will Rivera who showed up as sort of fan, but also Middletown local. And, you know, you give this guy a good product and he just runs with it. And next thing you know, you have lines of hundreds of people outside wanting more of that product. He was out my home brew, I think, down at Other Half when we made 5 gallons at a time. He's like, yo, I just need like 2 bottles. Because we used to bottle our first IPAs because that's what we had in the basement.
Yep.
And he was like going down to Other Half and like going up and I don't know. Well, you tell that part because that was your thing.
So the first time we had bottles of the IPAs going up and down. It was a different name. It was called at the time. It was Fluctuation, but it was a different name that we called it. Going
Kinetics.
down Kinetics. So we were doing that.
Kinetics. We got C Indeed, so we had to change the name.
Yeah, so we were doing that.
Kinetics Brewing in California didn't like our name of that beer, so makes sense. So we changed it.
And then what we did was something pretty cool. So me, Ryan, the head brewer, and a buddy of ours named Johnny he actually owns District 96 right now in New York. It's a brewery
Shout out to Johnny.
And we do a lot of collabs with him and stuff. But at the time, he had a crowler machine. So we bought a sixtel of beer, MC squared, that we got.
That was the whole batch.
The whole batch that we took it to Johnny, and we crowled it at Johnny's place. And this was before he opened his brewery. We all went down together the Other Half. And I talked to the guys at Other, they're all good friends. I was like, before you guys open, I'm going to hand out these beers on the line. And they're such good people. They were like, go ahead, have fun, do your thing. So we went up and down that line. And all the people we knew, we made sure everyone got a crowler. All the groups of people, big release. We hand wrote what the beer was, MC Squared Equilibrium. By the time we got to the end of the line and we're going back to where we were, people were running down to us like, hey, yo, where is this brewery and what is this? Like, this is crazy. What's going on? What is this? We're like, oh, this is the brewery we're going to be opening up in Middletown, New York. And
now Will's like, that's Pete's basement. Here's his home address. Go knock on his door.
At the top, Pete's basement, though, yes. But people were like going crazy for the beer. Yeah. In a well-respected place, Other Half, and it blew up. Like it just took off from there. It absolutely just took off. So when our first release, we had a release, there was a line of people already waiting to get beers. Of Pete's home, like in Pete's basement, we were doing this. So it doesn't get realer than that. It was coming from his basement. So.
Well, why haven't we done a beer straight out the basement? Because that's kind of where it all started.
But Pete, we should actually do it. It makes sense.
Started from the basement. Now we're here.
How did you guys come up with the name of Equilibrium?
From a couple angles. From my love of science, to me, equilibrium represents a state of balance, and it's a well-rounded thing that all the sort of dimensions of the beer are in the right place and they're balanced, and it has big flavor, but there's no edges. The logo itself is round to sort of symbolize a very well-rounded beer. And then from Ricardo, our co-founder, it was sort of a Buddhist reference. He's a Buddhist. Mm-hmm. And so, but it also means sort of balance in your life and your life's journey and that kind of thing.
Nice. Yeah, it's always curious to know, what actually is the reason behind it, and like with everything else, it gives it more meaning when you really understand what it was.
Our original logo was a symbol of chemical equilibrium, which is what I always view beer as. But it wasn't very catchy, so we didn't use it.
Yeah. So we hear these stories about, you guys taking these beers down to Other Half lines and things like that. When you get to open the doors, was there people waiting already? Like, did you guys have that buzz and that hype built up?
Yeah, because of him.
Yeah, we had that line already built up, which was crazy for us. And then another cool thing that people don't know, the behind the scenes stuff, is we have a lot of friends in the beer community that we love dearly. We came from the other side of beer. So we were waiting on lines doing stuff. We love beer. We respect everything about it. So friends of ours, even, when social media started to take off, they're actually, posting our beers before we even opened up a brewery. It's like the brewery was actually open. So crowds of our beers with, again, handwritten MC or fluctuation or whatever we had, people are already posting, talking about Equilibrium when we set, ship boxes out and stuff. And like a lot of that stuff just came together at the end, and people just wanted to see, like, if they haven't tried it, they wanted to try it. They wanted to see what's new, what we were doing, and there was a line. We sold out the bottle the same day we put it out, and so it was crazy. Like, it was crazy to see the
I
response.
can only imagine.
That's a great idea for like a gorilla.
We started with some kegs going out to distribution, and that also got a really kind of crazy response. I won't name the other breweries, but people are all of a sudden posting like, holy shit, we tapped this keg of blank, and then we put on this new whatever Equilibrium or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that kick first, isn't what's going on here? This tasted like this other brewery blank. What is this? What's going on? And then very quickly we were not able to even keep on site, and so the kegs stopped going out so much, and we kept it on site. And that kind of turned into this whole other thing with the beer community culture, where it was like this big line share, and people would show up, and there would be like all this trading going on. People would bring beers from all over the world, and the release would be at 11:30. People would be there since like 4 or 5 a.m. trading beers, which almost always goes okay, but not always. But it was a really good time, and we can't do that right now because of all the COVID stuff. But those were sort of the golden days of Equilibrium in my mind, and those are my fondest memories. And I hope we get back to that as soon as it's safe.
I hope we do too. I know some people like to shit on the line life, but when you're going to a place that has a line share and a great community around it, you're not really waiting in line. You're meeting new friends, you're drinking new beers. It's a total experience, just going and hanging out in line. And that's a really great idea to take it someplace and market it that way before you guys opened up. And kudos to other half, because they could have been like, yo, get your shit out of my line. We're trying to sell beer here. If I open up a pizza shop and I take my pizza to Johnny's pizza shop down the street, they're going to tell me to get lost. So for the other half guys to be cool with that, and that's the beer community, man. That's everybody being around. That's the beer community.
Yep. There's nothing better. I don't care what people tell me stuff all the time. There's nothing better than the beer community. This
absolutely right.
And everyone respects each. They love each other. They're here for each other, and everyone looks out for each other. So I love this community that we have.
Absolutely.
I mean, I always used to wonder, like, the amount of hundreds of people weekend after weekend drinking 12% pastry stouts. How little problems we had was phenomenal. Like, just phenomenal.
Yeah, that's crazy. So,
and I think that's a testament of character to the people in the beer community. Like, it's a good group of people.
Sure. Yeah, always. So, Pete, being the owner, when you I'm just going to assume you put a whole lot on the line. You want this to be your livelihood, what makes you money. When did you have that moment where you were like, okay, this is going to work and this is a big deal?
I mean,
the first day you opened the door, or do you just remember having that moment?
I felt, honestly, like, speaking from my heart, I felt overwhelmed and panicked the first time we opened up, because it was a 3-hour wait to the growler. And there was a lot of my friends and, both helping the business, people who invested in the business, also my friends out on the line. And I still am to this day, terrified of serving a bad beer or giving someone a bad experience. And so that was one of the moments where I was like, holy shit, like, this is, oops, I am allowed to say shit.
Yeah.
Say it all.
Where I was like, holy shit, like, this is real. I mean, there's people wrapped around a couple corners of blocks to try to just get a couple of our beers. And it sort of was overwhelming. And, like, as much as you put into it, sometimes it feels like it's not enough. And it's like, we can keep the tanks full and brew so much beer, but like, it's really hard to make everybody happy all the time, or if we sell out of something, or if people don't get what they want, or it's not enough of what they want. That's sort of the scary part. And it felt very real to me of like, we can't make enough beer right now, that it's, it's a little scary. So I think that was the moment when I was like, holy shit, like people really want this. Like this is, and as proud as I am of the beer, which I am very proud of, it was a lot of just the amazing staff we put together, and people coming to see, like people like Will and Ryan, our head brewer, and Michelle and Rich, and a bunch of countless people hanging out at the line share and making the experience for the people in the beer community as seamless as possible. And that was the wow, like this really is the thing now.
Yeah, it's got to be a great feeling when you have all these hopes and dreams of how things are going to work out, and then when you just see how much demand there is, and how many whatever the sales, and how many cans and crowlers you're putting out, that's really neat. So you were talking about oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say the original business model was to sell kegs to the draft industry.
Okay.
And we had no idea what was going to happen. We were just going to, the original plan, I was going to work 30 hours a month on the brewery, and I was still working on the remediation of some of the larger bodies of water around New York City, which I wanted to see to completion. And it was going to be 30 hours a month. That was the plan. And then that kind of went a different direction. Not very long at all.
Not very long.
Not long whatsoever.
So you were talking about how you were traveling and going to Vermont, things like Heady Topper, some of those OGs that we know as the original, hazy IPAs, starting off the New England styles and things. Yeah. I'm going to assume that's a lot of your inspiration, but also, is that the style of beer that you guys usually concentrate on?
I mean, a lot of it is the inspiration because it's just delicious beer.
Mm-hmm.
I got this comment from Michelle, who's part of our brand management team and our social media person. She takes all those amazing pictures. That she had some people up, and they're like, "Oh my God, Pete's drinking a D-Hop 21 or whatever, and like, you guys actually drink the beer you make. You're not drinking Pilsners or lager beer or whatever." And I was like, no, like the reason we make these beers is because this is what we want to drink, and this is what gets us excited, and we're kind of just sharing the rest with everybody else. So yeah, like the definite shout out to some of the OGs for, I think, kicking the style off, but we're doing that because what we think is delicious, and that's what we want to drink ourselves. Not to say I don't want to crush a good Pilsner every once in a while. I do.
Sure. All right, so I saw expansion where there was a new place opening up, Equilibrium Bonfire. Why don't you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah. So we have, and this will make sense to your question in a moment. We have a series of beer, which is like a farmhouse called Austin, which is inspired by about 6 years of my life spent on and off in Austin, Texas, which is one of my favorite cities on the planet. Great place. And all the time in Austin, like, I got some legit barbecue down there. And then I got barbecue around here, and some offense intended, it's not what I'm looking for.
Sure.
And so just for fun, like, I bought a smoker, and whenever we'd have a big release, like, we expect a couple hundred people, I would spend all night like smoking a brisket, because another story behind the story. I was actually in line. I don't know if you know who Aaron Franklin is. Franklin's,
I don't know him, but yeah, very, very aware of his place now.
Yeah, I was in line at barbecue, and I got chatting to one of the pitmasters, and he was saying, I would do anything to try some of this, you know, what is Hill Farmstead? They got best brewer in the world for like the 5th year in a row. And I was like, oh, you mean like this Hill Farmstead? And I was like, I would do anything, maybe even trade some Hill Farmstead to learn how to make brisket like you guys do. And he was like, you want to hang out and get fucked up and talk about making brisket? And I'm like, I do.
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Yes.
So we ended up hanging out, and like he walked me through some real basics of some of their barbecue, and we became friends. He's no longer there anymore, but you know, we keep in touch about some of the barbecue stuff. And I started coming back to New York and making barbecue, and I would just bring it down to the line. We just share it. We just give it out. Like, here's brisket, here's beef ribs, here's turkey, here's pork ribs. And then eventually we were kind of like, man, people really like this stuff. And there's not barbecue, not real authentic Texas style barbecue up in New York. And so we thought of the concept of a bonfire of something that we really like, because people hang out, they're warm, they sit around, they tell stories, they share beers, they relax. And it's also like the theme of the live fire food program with the focus being on the smoker. And so
Nice.
I'm sort of I don't even know how we say this, the pitmaster overseer or something.
Okay.
We all the barbecue recipes are based on my recipes that I developed at home, starting with like Franklin's hints. And then we had a bunch of masters hired, and so they kind of run the pit. And we have a nice executive chef, Scott Cameron, and he runs the kitchen. And we were starting to get lines on Saturday. We'd have one line for the beer come through, and then another line perpendicular to it for the brisket. You know, we got, and the thing that's kind of messed up is we did all that, and we were only allowed to open for like 3 months. Then we had to, you know, COVID happened, so we shut down. So we're still smoking a few times a week, and we're sending it out to go. But you know, we hope to get it back up and running soon. As soon as we feel safe.
It's funny you talk about barbecue.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the simple answer is barbecue and beer goes well together.
Yeah,
The perfect.
Both John and I have gotten into smoking and barbecue over the past year, John.
Yeah.
And I just got my first. I used to have an old bullet smoker, which was horrible, and I'd have to nurse it like every half hour. But we've gotten big into doing beef ribs, and I haven't done a brisket yet. John's done the brisket. I haven't gotten that brave yet, but I like to do the pork butts and the ribs, and the beef ribs were my favorite, the most favorite thing I've done over the past couple weeks. Just so good on the barbecue.
Yeah, those beef ribs that were that I keep seeing on the Equilibrium bonfire Instagram, like those look insane.
They are insane. I hate to say this, but beef ribs over brisket, I think.
I would actually agree with you, Pete. Beef ribs is where it's at. We were fortunate enough that we had from Mastra come down and do a dinner with us, and they rubbed their coffee from Mastra Coffee, which was rated the best coffee in the country, on our
world. They just got world,
and it was unreal. Absolutely unreal.
That's insane.
I mean that I gotta say, like, I don't know if this is part of the question schedule, but that was one of my favorite events we've ever done. Shout out to Michelle for putting it together, and we had it at the brewery. And so what that was, we had our buddies from Mastra who just got best coffee roaster in the world. They came down, they did a cupping. We had a beef rib rubbed with their coffee, and then we released a barrel-aged stout that conditioned on their coffee. And it was like this whole like 5-6 part event. You know, we were actually randomly fortunate enough to have JC from Trillium down, and it was just like, it's just one of my favorite nights we had. It was such a good event, and that's kind of what I look forward to getting back to. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do think the direct-to-consumer shipping is the move right now to keep everybody safe, but integrated like coffee, food, beer, cupping kind of events, that's what I want to get back to, because it was sort of like this integration across so many fun categories for people. And that's where we were going with a lot of things, is integrating the beer with the food, with these special ingredients, turning them to big events. And that was really fun.
Yeah, I bet. Sean here is really digging the conversation. I got to give Sean a shout out. I'm wearing his shirt. I feel like he's kind of
What's up,
taken
Sean?
an approach like you guys. Him and his cousin have won a bunch of local homebrew competitions. So they
Nice.
stepped up their brewing situation, their whole brewing setup, and they're just brewing in crowlers and cans and whatever they can get a hold of and getting it out to people, and people are going crazy for it. And I'm really excited for them because they haven't actually opened up a legit place yet, but I'm glad to see he's really liking the conversation with you guys. For him trying to get himself going one day.
Again,
I'm sure he really appreciates it.
We started from the basement. Now we're here.
Hi, Sean. If you believe in what you got and you're a product of what you're doing, go for it. You know what? Don't let anyone else tell you different. Go for it, man. You never know what you're going to get out of it. And this community, again, we will repeat ourselves over and over again. The best community. They'll back you up. They'll be here for you. Just go for it, man.
Sean, he said 5 batches a day, Sean. 5 batches a day, Sean. You hear the man?
So I got to tell you guys about my experience with Equilibrium because I've only visited once, and I couldn't help but tell people about it because it was so incredibly unique. All right, I travel a bit for work, so I get to go all over the country and try these different breweries. And I was doing software training with a company in, how do you guys pronounce it? Is it Monticello or Monticello?
Monticello.
Monticello, right?
Yeah.
So I'm leaving there and I'm looking up breweries nearby. And I'm like, man, I've been wanting to try Equilibrium. And the hours were working out perfectly. And I pull up in your parking lot and you guys were releasing the it was a blueberry beer and the label looked like that Cantillon label.
Oh, the Evil Twin the Evil Twin.
Yeah.
Blueberry Boy.
Exactly. So you guys were releasing that week or that day when I was there. I think it was a Wednesday or a Thursday. And but anyway, I showed up. I got a bunch of cans from the tent at the bottom of the stairs.
Yep.
And threw them in my car.
Tap room for a long time.
Yeah. And then I went upstairs and I walk into this tap room and I walk up to order a beer. I've never been to a tap room like that. They grabbed the can and they cracked the can and poured the beer. And I was like, there's no tap handles in here. I think there might have been 2.
This goes out to your friend who just showed up. Don't ever let someone tell you that you can't open a tap room for like 3 G's because you can.
Yeah, but I mean, there was a Keezer, I think, up on the counter with 2 taps. Everything else was getting served in cans out of a cooler, and I had a ton of fun. There was only 8 or 10 tables in there, but big tabletops.
Yeah,
and you can't help but walk up to a table with your plastic cup with your 16-ounce pour and start bullshitting with somebody. And you know what I mean? It was such a weird thing where I'm like, you go to these fancy breweries and these crazy tap rooms and you walk in here and it's just so, so humble, so thrown together. But at the same time, it didn't matter because the product was there. The beer's fantastic and the people were fantastic. And I'm meeting people that were local or from out of town also. And just, hanging out for, an hour and a half, 2 hours, BSing with people, having awesome beer.
I mean, it just shows you it's the community that makes the experience, and a big shout out to our GM, Todd, who built that place with his own bare hands and got that going. Then he also did the new location, which is a little bit nicer. But, the case is still the same where it's just raw and genuine. And that's what we like.
And by the way,
like we those people, so we want to create that.
We took the tent from where you remember where it was before.
Yeah.
We put that tent in our new place, by the way.
Did you?
We're still wanted that line life in the back, cracking beers and all that. We never changed none of that. It's still there.
Nice.
That tent, that's the legacy tent. Yeah.
But yeah, it was so much fun. And I remember having my first Equilibrium beer and having that moment of like, this beer is fantastic, and it's unique. It doesn't taste like anything else. Where the Tree Houses and the Alchemist and other half, you can have a lot of their IPAs and they have that similar taste, and people try to copy it, or something can just kind of taste like something else or a close version. But you guys, I feel like, nailed that. You've got these full flavored, incredible, juicy beers that also have that, I don't know if it's like a yeast profile or whatever it is that makes it unique, and it is certainly yours. But it stands on its own, but it backs it up at the same time.
Right. Cool. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. You should come check out the new place when you can.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm going to Connecticut next week, but I'm looking for like my next New York trip. I'm just getting back out on the road. I've been grounded for a good while.
We're actually I don't think Will's going to make it because he's down in Florida at the moment. But next Wednesday we're going down to brew with Gene and Colin from Tired Hands. So we'll be coming down to.
Oh, nice.
Down to PA. We got to go to my wife and I got to go to Australia with Gene and Colin and look at next year's Galaxy and spend some time over there. And so we're gonna go down and brew with those guys. The first time for me outside of my house in the brewery. That's all I've been to. My house and my brewery. That's it.
Yeah, that's really neat.
Yeah, so I'm excited to go down and do that as well.
Yeah, I don't know how long you're staying, but yeah, that's interesting. That'll be really cool. It's so crazy how small the world is. You know what I mean? That and how close you guys are to Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
That you guys,
it's like
know
2.5 hours away to get to Tired Hands. It's not even that far.
It's not bad.
Yeah, we definitely train people. And by the way, another good brewery out there I wanted to definitely shout out while we're on here, Human Robot. If people don't know about Human Robot by now, I don't know where you've been, but that place is kicking ass right now.
I took a trip out this past Saturday, and I went up to Warwick Farm Brewing and Forest in Maine, and I was going to hit Human Robot on the way home, but they didn't have any cans. They were just doing crowlers, and I was trying to pick up cans, but they're on my list. I got to get up to the Human Robot. I've heard great things.
I love Forest in Maine. I love Fermentary Form.
Love Forest in Maine. Yeah,
there's so many good
Fermentary Form.
Yeah.
They're doing some special stuff.
Top notch. And good
place. Way different than anybody else.
Memphis Tap Room, all these good places that you can go hang out and chill, have a good beer. Of course, pre-COVID. But,
yeah. Used to.
Here's to Ken. Love Ken. Ken's the man.
Yeah. Shout out to
Ken.
Ken.
Great time. I just cracked that lady, the Saison from Forest in Maine.
Well, let me join you.
Oh, wow.
I'm not crazy about Saisons usually. And maybe, Pete, Will, you can help me out. I'm always looking for the answer to that question. But Saisons, usually, I'm assuming it's the yeast. There's a funkiness to it.
Like the farmhouse.
Yes. Yeah, when that's too heavy and too strong, it turns me off from beer.
But my least favorite dimension of a Saison is it gets bubblegummy. I hate that.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
There's a bubblegum, and yeah, that's a yeast profile that gets that flavor.
This I feel like is not too funky, but has a real good balance. It's it's flavorful, but it's easy drinking at the same time.
Right.
It's definitely a lighter Saison. It's a little bit more fruity, I feel like.
Like Saison Hands from Tired Hands, like that's almost sour to me. It's like it's a little bit sour, and that to me is a lot easier to drink than most of the Saisons.
The way we make our farmhouses, and I won't speak to how Gene does stuff because I don't know, but we had lactobacillus in it, so that throws a little bit of lactic acid to get a little tartness. The trick is getting like not too acidic, but a little bit acidic because I think it adds a really nice flavor profile.
See, I like the funk. I want the barnyard. I want the hay. I want the saddle leather. That's what I want in my Saison.
Yes, I'm the same way. I want it all. I'm like, give it to me. Just give it to me.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people out there that They see, they smell it. They're like, you know what? I'm good. But I'm
Yeah.
like, just try it. You never know. That beer is. You might have something phenomenal in that glass that you have in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get both sides. I do get both sides of it, though.
I try as many as I can, but it just keeps happening to me where I'm like, this is too much. But I feel like the more that I try them, the more accepting I am, and the more that I find that I like. It just, you know.
Yeah,
tough.
I mean, like to me, like Saison DuPont's like a classic. That you know, a lot of respect for that beer, and that's a good one. Other than that, though, I do like my farmhouses with a little bit of lactic acid, bacteria, and a little bit of Brettanomyces usually.
Sure. Yeah,
Try to mix it
getting
up.
that a little wild sour
Yeah.
taste to it helps for sure.
Pleasant funk, I like. Pleasant.
Yeah.
I like
Mr. Steve,
mead funk.
can you hold things for a second? My dog won't stop barking. She
I
wants
can
me to
try.
feed her.
I'll
Hang
give
on
it a
one
go.
second. I'll be right back.
For our viewers,
And,
down here,
you know, just one thing, I can't hear Mr. Steve at all. So if I'm not
At all?
responding to something, it's just because I can't hear it. I don't know why. It's just Mr. Steve. So Will, if I'm sitting here looking stupid at the camera, just let me know.
I got you.
Okay.
can you hear me well?
I can hear you clear as day. Yeah.
I don't know what the heck's
Yeah,
going on
I don't
with
know.
that.
Yeah,
So
but
for
go ahead.
I was going to say, for the viewers in our area, if they happen to be traveling up towards you guys, what else is in your area? Like you're talking about Human Robot and the places down our way. What are some of the other breweries up by you guys that maybe somebody can hit with you guys and get a couple breweries in one stop?
Got you. So Pete, he's just pretty much asking what's in our area for brewery wise that people could also come with it there. So we have a place, Hudson Valley Brewing.
Hudson Valley for sure.
Away we have
Russian Duck, OG of the Hudson Valley.
Yeah, Russian Duck. They've been here forever. They are the OG of the Hudson Valley. Then you have
maybe even a lot of New York. They're the OG outside of the city.
They really are. Suarez. If people like Suarez, I'll tell you what.
Dan Suarez is for sure.
Plan B, District 96,
D96.
We have plenty of breweries. We have a lot of breweries actually, pretty close to us. Not that far from us actually.
Yeah, there's a couple of ones that just opened up that I haven't been to yet. There's Drownlands is they were kind enough to send us a box of their beers and they were drinking pretty good. Tin Barn is another one that opened up. I think they're out by Russian Duck in Chester, I believe.
Chester, yeah.
But you know, I think the Hudson Valley is becoming a cool spot. Like there's a lot of good kind of local resources for people to draw from in the brewing scape. And you know, I hope once the world sort of settles on a steady state path that it should be a nice tourist destination. Get people around and do the brew trails like the same way I felt about going to Vermont. Like you go up and hit all these amazing spots and you run around all day collecting beers and having these amazing experiences. Like that was just a lot of fun. So I hope to be
beautiful country up that way.
Yeah, exactly.
I love making the drive up, you know, towards Albany or whatever it is, and you're kind of going through that Hudson Valley area. It's just gorgeous.
It's a beautiful country. Exactly.
Yeah.
No reason to not stop at 5 or 6 breweries.
Absolutely. So, how else have you guys been affected with the pandemic? You talked about Bonfire kind of getting shut down a little bit. You know, what other struggles have you guys had? You know, not having the tap room, not having the direct, you know, can sales. Are you guys doing, you know, can pickups?
There was about 2-3 weeks of like, oh shit, like what are we gonna do? We just opened up this beautiful new building. We have increased production. Should we just keep brewing and put beer into barrels and get like free Pilsner started and like 300 wild ales and not do hops because the world's gonna be drinking them? We don't know what to do. Do we just sort of bite the bullet and send everything to retail stores and see how that goes? Hopefully they keep it cold and serve it fresh and they don't sit on shelves because that definitely degrades the quality of the product, in my opinion. And then the laws changed where you were allowed to ship direct to consumer, and that sort of changed everything. So we were still doing the pickups, but like Middletown's, I wouldn't really call it a population center for craft beer. And so without like the people traveling, when people want to encourage, we were like, how the hell we can sell all this beer? And then like, you can ship it. We're like, okay. And so we have this beautiful, like all wood pine shipping facility connected to a live fire staff only lunch place.
Yeah. And also we're not able to keg. So at the time they're like, no kegs, please. Places are shutting down. Please don't send us. We can't have kegs at our taps, whatever. And so we weren't able to keg either. So that really like wow. Okay, so what do we do? What do we do at that moment? Before we had that. So
for example, we have the original spot that you went to at Henry Street, and then the new spot at South Street. But we only have one canning line, so like, what do we do? And we've been fortunate enough to work with a good team of mobile canners that's they're canning all the beer we make at Henry Street. And so I think that's going to continue for the foreseeable future, even as the bars and restaurants open back up, because I think a lot of people got stuck with like all these kegs of beer that they didn't know what to do with. And so we'll probably better to put it in cans for a while and see how the world unfolds.
Yeah.
I've definitely been impressed with the way the beer world has adapted, the way people have gone from putting out kegs to keg accounts to canning their own stuff to setting up self-distribution to setting up self-delivery even. We got a brewery down the street from us, East Branch, that the guy hops in his car and he goes to John's house like every day and they're delivering right to the people.
Yeah, Pete, you'll have to, when you come down this way, you'll have to ask Gene about the guys at East Branch.
East Branch, okay.
Yeah, I think they've got some kind of connection. I know the one guy behind East Branch was like an early, whatever you call it. I don't know if it's a partner or just supporter, right? And I think they're doing something behind the scenes. I don't know. Talk to Gene about that. But East Branch is right down the street from us, and it's one of our favorites. The guy is a former from the head brewer is formerly from Victory, and they just love their old school German style. So they, to me, and I'm sure Mr. Steve agrees, are doing like the best pilsners and kolsches and lagers around. Yeah. Like just their beers are. I feel like everyone is like world class, and that's just what they stick to. Yeah.
Awesome.
I met one of the guys from East Branch at one of the events I went to.
Yeah.
So they came down to have some Equilibrium at one of the events, and they were talking about East Branch, by the way. Yep. I've never heard of him, but then they were like, people around me were like, you never heard of East Branch? Like yeah, Branch is that's the spot right now. Like, and it was cool to see that and hear that, and then have people like educate me, like on this place that's over there that I want to try it. Like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Let's see what they have.
It's wild, it's crazy to me that, I don't know the right way to say it, right? But I love the hazy New England IPAs. They're just so delicious and juicy and approachable. And, it's popular for a reason. They're fantastic beers, and that's why everybody loves them so much. And they don't do them at all. And, and sometimes I'm like, if I know he could do it, if he did it, they would probably sell a bunch, and they don't, and they stick to it, and they're still extremely popular. You know what I mean? They still do really good, but they're sticking to, I guess they always say it's what we believe in. It's what we want to do with our passion. So that, that's what we're going to do. And, kudos to them.
One place Will and I got to go out to in Colorado, Beer Stott Lager House, and they just made lagers. And I've been poking Will for a while, and he came through because he always does, about getting us some of their slow pour pills shipped out to us. And I'm like, we'll trade whatever beer you want, barrel aged, marshmallow stout, whatever. We need more of that slow pour pilsner though, because I still remember that giant mug of like 4-inch pillow top head sitting on there, and just how good that beer was.
It was Yes, it was such a good beer, and shout out to those guys for just crushing what they do. Love what they do, but don't get it twisted. We do also we dabble in lagers as well, and we have stouts, lagers, sours. We're doing pretty much a lot of different beers, but that beer stout, the slow pour, was out of this world.
Slow pour special. Hey guys, I'm gonna have to hop off pretty soon because I'm almost unable to see things. You can probably tell by how dark my screen's getting.
I enjoy that it's gotten darker as the podcast has gone on.
Yeah, Pete.
Yeah, I don't even know if you guys can see me anymore.
I can still see it.
Just a little.
bit.
We get a little peek.
Yeah, so I got like 5 more minutes, but I should probably hop off soon so I can find my way back inside and not.
Yeah,
You're
no
right.
worries, Pete.
Your lighting's still better than John's.
Yes. Is there anything else you guys want to know? And I would say, Will, stay on as long as you want. Have fun.
Yeah. I'm still here with you.
Yeah. Well, I do want to ask, when you were talking about shipping beers, is that a thing that I'm not aware of? Do you guys as brewers, are big fans of each other? Do you guys just trade shit all the time and that we don't ever see?
Hell yeah.
All the time, by the way. If someone tells you different, no, we love, we appreciate a lot of other people's beers, and they do for us too. So if we can get each other's beers sometimes, and we can get each other's beers, why not?
Sure.
We have the best.
No, but it's getting even weirder now. Like we just got a bottle of bourbon from one of my favorite places out in California. You guys probably know this Bottle Logic. They're gonna send us a bottle of bourbon. They're like, here's bourbon. And I heard Mike from Microphone is sending people like tacos he likes or something crazy. Like there's all this weird behind the scenes stuff.
And it's all love. It's so much love out there. It's perfect. And what's cool too? So when we do collabs, we'll send people, and they'll send to us too. Like we send each other the beers, the collabs, so we can all share and have as well.
Nice. Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Mr. Steve, you got anything else before we let Pete go?
Well, my last question.
Will, can you translate for me, please?
Yeah, Pete can't hear me for some reason. I'm not sure why.
Oh.
Just me. Is there going to be a collab coming out with Tired Hands? You guys just coming down to brew? Is there going to be a beer coming out?
He wants to know if there's a collab coming out with Tired Hands. I can answer that one. Yes.
Yeah, 100%. That's why we're going down there.
All right, I didn't know.
So there's I'm not allowed to speak to one of the collabs, but one of the collabs, we were down there and Gene and I found an experimental hop that we really fell in love with, and shout out to our boy May. And he made that happen. So we got a couple boxes of this very experimental hop from Australia, and so we're going to brew a little pale ale with that.
And by the way, May's from Pennsylvania, by the way. Shout out.
Yeah. May's going to be joining us on Wednesday as well. And then we have something much, much bigger planned, but I don't think Gene wants that revealed just yet. So you have to stay tuned for that one.
Yeah, I hear you.
I look forward to a little pale ale. I said a couple episodes ago the pale ales are going to start coming back. That's my late 2020, 21 pale ales are going to come back.
Pete, any other plans? I mean, hopefully everybody's just trying to get back to normal. Let's get these tap rooms open. Let's get people buying pours again. Get those hundreds, maybe 1,000 people outside for can releases. Other than that, if things go back to normal sooner than later, I mean, are we going to end up seeing Equilibrium, expanding again in the future? What other things are in the store or in the plans at least?
So I mean, there's a lot of different trajectories we could be on that are associated with various amounts of uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
And the first and foremost thing, keep our staff safe and the beer community safe. And I don't really know what's happening with COVID. Is it going to mutate? Is there going to be a vaccine? Are people going to get natural immunity? Is it just going to kind of go away? Is it going to resurge in the fall? What are the state and the federal laws going to look like with regards to shipping, to the occupancy percentage? These are all really large unknown variables. We would love to get things back to normal because we miss the beer community. We miss hanging out. We miss the experience. I mean, I miss the experience personally. I know Will does too, of like just hanging out. Like that's fun for us.
Yep.
But we got to keep people safe. And so I think for the foreseeable future, as long as the laws permit it, we plan on shipping the beer because it's safe.
Yeah.
And until we know otherwise, that's what we're planning on doing. When that's done, I want to throw some big ass raging barbecue festival. I don't know what we're going to call it, but like, you know, a festival, but it's got to be responsible. You know, we got to
Sure.
keep people safe. In terms of expanding like production, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. In terms of expanding our portfolio, we're using this downtime to kind of getting more into some lagers. We're going to open up our barrel program a lot bigger. I've been very, very happy with a lot of the barrel-aged stouts and the barrel-aged farmhouses and the sours. We're sort of fortunate enough to be friends with some of the best blenders in the world. It's like we have two Solera Fooder programs starting with the wonderful Miss Avery Swanson, the former head brewer of Jester King.
Ooh.
And I'm not going to say this guy's a wonderful person because he's not, but Raph from Boken Rider, good friend. Not as nice person as Avery. Just kidding, Raph. So we're going to be doing some actual like blending with these guys, which I'm really excited about because they know more about it than I do, and so it's kind of learning from the masters, and then working on some crispy boys a little bit because COVID-15 is real. I got to get rid of these 15 pounds. We'll start off with a 0 calorie from Voodoo.
That's right.
And so I there's a little bit of a silver lining to this, at least for me personally, as I'm getting to do a little bit more of the science and the brewing in the new space that, which I love and I miss, because we're kind of grounded for a little bit.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, cool. Let's make new beers. Let's figure out new stuff to make and expand the portfolios.
Yeah.
So I think that's sort of the short term, and we're just kind of waiting to see what happens with the world for the most part, and trying to make very careful and thoughtful decisions on what we do as our next steps. But I think do you hear that thing around me right now?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a creature.
I mean, I got to tell you,
if I get 3 red laser beams on my shoulder because the Predator's here, I'm
Dude, you referenced Predator in that article that I read earlier today. Are you a huge Predator fan?
I'm kind of a Predator fan. Yeah.
Okay. That's funny.
I saw that when I was like 9 years old in that movie.
Yeah.
And I usually I'm a wily guy and I figure out how to do things. And I was like, this creature would just fucking kill me. And I don't know what to do against this thing. And so I just hope it's not right now.
Pete, I got to say that was probably like one of the quickest hour and 10 minutes we've ever done. I think it was just a blast chatting with you.
Yeah, definitely, guys.
It's been a ton of fun. I mean, hopefully when things eventually go back to normal, if we can be a little bit more mobile, I think it would be so much fun to come up to New York and do something on site and chat with you guys and talk about the brewery. And I am dying for some of that barbecue.
I can introduce you to the challenges of running a podcast while trying to eat a beef rib.
That sounds good. Well, man, I appreciate it. Mr. Steve, can we translate anything for you?
I want a beef rib now.
He wants a beef rib now.
I'll trade for a beef rib.
And he'll trade for it.
He'll trade for a beef rib. So
yeah.
How much for just one rib?
Well, cheers and thank you for having me on, and hopefully talk to you guys soon.
Yeah, that sounds good. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
Bye, guys.
Forget what he looks like already.
All right. It got pretty dark quick for him over there.
It did. I usually have all the lighting issues. Everybody makes fun of me because I'm always like too shiny or too dark. But it's all right. So, well, if you're going to hang out for a minute, I would love to get to know, like, there's a few times in us talking earlier, you referenced being on the other side of the brewing industry.
Yep.
Or behind the scenes or whatever you want to call it. What does that mean? What was your history and what did you do before you got started with Equilibrium?
So for me, actually, I worked in retail. So I did retail for a long time for customer service and doing pretty much getting to know how to do more for the customer, I would say. But I also been chasing beers for a long time. So my love for beer is ancient for myself. I'm a big Brooklyn Brew fan. Back in the days when I seen a guy named Garrett Oliver come out, and this guy's brewing some beers, and I'm like, he looks kind of like me, and he's brewing beer, and I've never seen this before. This is incredible. I love this. And seeing Steve, listen, I remember one day I was at an event, and I heard Steve. I couldn't believe Steve Hindy showed up from Brook. He's the owner of Brooklyn Brewery, and he shows up and he's talking to everyone at this event. He's on the microphone, just giving a speech, and I'm like, I'm already in love with this brewery. But then seeing him and hearing him speak and talk about the craft beer community, I'm talking a long time ago.
Sure.
I was like, wow, they had me. I'm sold. Like, yes. And I'm still such hey. I'll tell you what, I'm still such a fan to this day. Garrett Oliver and those guys, great guys. And I've been in love with craft beer for a long time, well over 20 years, and this is something I've always been into. So I started off trying to build a line life for other half, actually.
Yeah.
That's the other side.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I used to go to Vermont, like Pete, and do these trips. And because Vermont, for us, where we're from, was where it's at. Or you go to Philadelphia, and you get some Russian River. It was dope. Like, it was great.
Yeah.
Good places in Philly. So you're coming from that side of where you used to wait online but have a good time online and, you know, just chase these beers and stuff. We try to integrate that, what we knew from that, into what we have now at Equilibrium. But yeah, I've been doing this for a long time, chasing for a long time, and I still chase till today. Like, I love it. I enjoy every bit of it. But nowadays, I know before we got into open the brewery, I already knew a lot of breweries and stuff, but even more now than ever. So it's good to have all these guys as friends, and, you know, it's good to always support what they do and try their stuff. And I love it, what everyone else is doing too. So, like I said, robot. Like, for me, it was different now because I still look at myself as the other side. I don't care, whatever the case may be. I still see myself on the line, drinking beers with everyone, having a good time. That's just me. And going to Human Robot was pretty cool. Going in there for the first, I was there day one, by the way. Day one, and I'm
day
there.
one of opening.
Yeah, day one, I was there, and wow, the community, the people that came out to support, the love they got was beautiful. It was nice, and the beers were phenomenal. So I love that. I love all.
Yeah, Philly, North 5th Street. I gotta look up, see what neighborhood that's in.
It's right near
Kensington.
Formentry Forum.
Old Kensington, yeah.
It's right, literally, Formentry Forum is like a few blocks from there.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. I actually haven't been to Fermentary Forum, but those guys, we met them at a beer fest recently and had fun and did like a little interview and shared some beers with them. And man, it was just next level, that stuff. But hey, Sean, how you doing, man?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Thanks for hopping on with us. This is our buddy Sean that we were talking about earlier from FAM.
Yeah,
So
what's up, Will?
I'm gonna crack this. Were we talking about this stout, Mr. Steve?
The coffee stout?
Yeah, from Warwick. Warwick's pretty good. I've been seeing them pop up a lot on social media.
I see them all the time. I haven't had anything yet, though.
Yeah. So it's I had that Simcoe something yesterday. It was pretty good. I think I like the Pilsner a bit more. We'll see about this stout. But Will, like I gotta say, I think when it comes to a male beer Instagram account, that yours is one of the best, because it's like I kind of think it's like, even though there aren't the chicks all the time, it's like the Dan Blitzarian or whatever, how you say his name, of like the beer world, like, you know, window seat Will, which I hate that you took that hashtag. My last name's Wilcox, and I wanted that so bad. I was like, I can't take it now. Window seat Will, maybe I'll do it with one L, but you know, the seeing you just like hopping around and getting tagged and always having a good time with beer people around the country. I mean, you gotta. It appears to me like, you know, you're living the dream.
1,000% is the dream. I never thought that waiting on the lines and doing what I did to now being in other countries and other states and other cities, and I'm drinking people with on their lines, having a good time where they're at, and of course doing my window shop before I get there, and telling people, yeah, guess where I'm going to next or something. And I never thought that'd be a thing. You know what? You could ask me this 10 years ago. I never would have thought this was actually going to be a thing, and it became a thing. And it's been crazy. Like all the events that we go to, all the events that we do, we do our own mobile can sale events. Like we're in Pennsylvania a lot. Well, I'm in Pennsylvania, so I can tell you a lot. It became a big thing for us. So, and for me, again, I never thought I would ever be doing what I'm doing today. So,
how do you get the beer out to places that you fly to?
So usually we have distro already in those states that we go to. So whether it's another country or another state, we always have it set up already. And then beforehand, we talk to those people that are from the neighborhoods there and say, what is your favorite places? What has history that people love and they enjoy? That, like if I told you I'm going to Philly, what's that place in Philly I have to be at? Or if I'm going to Pittsburgh, what's that place? They usually tell us.
Yeah.
We take, we actually look it up ourselves if we don't know. And those are the places we want to be at. Those are the places.
Yeah. I mean, like a place like Exton Beverage has that history, where it's just been around forever. Everybody knows them and respects them.
Yep.
What is it? I forget who. I think Sly Fox does an anniversary beer for them. I think maybe East Branch or maybe Station Taproom or something puts something out for them. But yeah, it's crazy, just their history. So that's really neat that you guys put that much effort in to just trying to push cans. But you guys make it a big deal and do the homework to make sure that it goes well.
Yeah, we want to make sure we're in the best places possible. And Exton has a long history, by the way. People don't know by now.
Yeah,
they've been quite some time. So
very cool. Well, let me see here. I think I had something else. What have been some of like the more fun events that you've done since you've been like beer traveling?
I'll tell you what. I have a few. My favorite though. I'll start off with my favorite. Voodoo, Meadville, Voodoo. Good Vibes. The best event I go to every year.
Okay.
Sad when they canceled this year, and I know why, but they go over and beyond for the brewer side what they do for that event. Like they make sure every brewer that comes down, like we're having a blast with these guys, and they take care of everything. They're like, hey guys, I don't need you going out to go eat. We're gonna make food for you here. We got the water in the back of our building that you can go on the river and just go swimming on, and then they go in there like this looks like someone's backyard and we're shooting guns. I shit you not. They got like 36 different guns. They're like, guys, we have like targets to hit. Let's have some fun, drink some PBRs while we do it.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds like a blast. Like where it's not like
the best time. I do events by the hundreds. I'll tell you what, my favorite event of all is that event. And I'll say it out loud every single time. One of my other favorites is here in New York, Pastry Town, Green City, other half. The event is pretty cool. Very well set up. Good beers. Like I love the lineups. I love the people that come there. And it's in my hometown. It's we're in New York, my home state, I should say. But it's perfect. It's such a well-run event, and the after party is amazing too. And also, then I'll take you to the UK. I do the UK every year. A place called Leeds, Northern Monk. Big brewery out there. They have an event every single year. Hop City. That blows me away every time I'm there. The lineup, the people, it's like a 3-day event. And it's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
I can only imagine, and that's really cool to hear you say, like, you do hundreds of events and all these things, and something that's just like, somebody that does it different, where they really cater to like the brewers that come out, and you guys have a good time. That's awesome.
Yeah, because if you think about it, you take care of the brewers and the people. They'll take care of the customers. So you don't have to worry about that. Take care of these guys, and guess what? They're going to do everything for those customers that come for your event. It's smart.
It is smart. What's the scene like over in the UK?
Incredible, actually. When the first time I went to the UK, I didn't know what it was going to be, but they were into a lot of New England style beers. I'll tell you, they were just going crazy for the New Englands out there, and they were making it as well. But they loved what they got from the States. They loved it. Oh man, it was such a big scene, and the sours too. A lot of sours also coming out of the UK, but it's a pretty big beer scene. It's way bigger than I ever would have imagined.
Wow. Yeah, I'm hoping I'm going to end up hitting other half. I'm going to try to hit there on Monday. I've been to Brooklyn, I think, maybe 2 or 3 times, and I did Rochester, I think, twice.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But I'm going to Rhode Island. I wish if I was going somewhere else, I might be able to head a little more north and try to pick up some cans from you guys. But now we can get it delivered.
That's true. But Rhode Island has some good places too. So you're not going. You're going to some good, good territory as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of following the coast. It looks like. What do you like out in Rhode Island?
Tilted Barn.
Yeah,
Tilted Barn.
Damn.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I remember seeing it.
Tilted Barn.
Yeah, Tilted Barn. Fuck. Yep, that brewery has some real beers out there. So good places out there. Fox Farm on the way down, you can hit that. There's a lot of good stuff that you can get on the on the way to Rhode Island.
Gotcha. Yeah, I might do that because like a lot of times as long as I do it at the right time of day, when I'm going through New York instead of hitting the GW, I can cross over into Brooklyn, hit other half quick, and then I can get up out into Connecticut without too much trouble. So I'm really hoping I can pull that off, and depending on what they have. What was interesting is when I checked their website the other day, other half Brooklyn was selling Trillium cans.
Yes.
What's that about?
So the way we do our mobile can sales, as you see in Pennsylvania, we do them at breweries as well.
Okay.
Our beer, and we'll send it to other half. Another half will have a drop for us at their brewery. And it works out like incredible. Like we look out for each other. So Trillium, they don't really send cans out ever, by the way.
No.
Right.
You never see Trillium. So when they do it, they do it with guys like other half. They'll send other half cans, taps, whatever they can. And they have like their own mobile can event there.
Sure.
It's
wow. I go into Massachusetts and up into New England a lot, and I see, I've gone to both Treehouse and Trillium. I love both of their beers, and I always kind of hold them up as like, the top tier Massachusetts beers. You can go to a place like Armsby Abbey, and it has Hill Farmstead on. They've got Trillium kegs, but I've never even seen a Treehouse keg anywhere.
No, so
they hold it way too tight.
I'll speak for Nate on this one. I love Nate. I love Treehouse. So he could sell all his beer in house. Everyone comes to the brewery. He's one of the, again, in the beginning, he was selling some stuff that everyone wanted, and he was making really good product. To this day, he's still making phenomenal brews. So people will just go visit him and see him and pick up the beers from him. So I don't think you'll be seeing Treehouse leaving Treehouse for a while still.
And that's what they're set up to do.
Yeah.
Their whole thing is set up to push out cans.
Fast. They do it incredibly efficient.
He has the people, the local, the communities around Massachusetts where he's at, they support him 1,000%.
Think about BT's barbecue.
Oh,
think about what they've done and what they're doing now in business since they've moved into the neighborhood. That's got to be incredible.
They won one of the best barbecues in the country, by the way, about 2-3 years ago. And Anthony Bourdain did an episode.
Oh, no shit.
Yes, you did. I remember that like it was yesterday. And like BT's has a huge reputation out there. And I know Treehouse being so close, it's a big help, a big, nice comfort to have those guys. And they would actually allow you to bring Treehouse beers
Yeah.
and drink in there or trade them or whatever you wanted to do, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's crazy. I wonder if sounds like BT's was already established. Maybe Nate was like, this is a good spot. We've got world-class barbecue down the street. We can do our thing and make it happen. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I love what they got going. And people, but my thing is, when people talk about Massachusetts, I always hear the same two breweries. My favorite brewery, though, right now, Vitamin C. Vitamin C is a powerhouse right now. They're pumping out some of the best liquid in Massachusetts.
Vitamin C, like the C in Weymouth.
Weymouth. They're right near. They're not that far from Trillium.
Dude, I'm training a customer in Weymouth right now remotely, and I wish I could go there on site. That's really interesting because I'll probably not be too far from there in the near future.
Those guys are producing some of the best liquid. I'm not. You know what? I say Massachusetts, some of the best liquid in the country. I think.
Wow.
Vitamin
Wow.
C, crushing. If people are not up on them by now at this point, I'm not sure where they've been, but Vitamin C is beyond crushing it.
Back to Treehouse. I mean, like everybody loves the hazy New England IPAs, and they're fantastic. But I think what makes them, one of those great breweries is like I'll never forget going there and getting my 4 or 5 cases and bringing them back to the car, and I go in to get my pours, which are not cheap, but they do Trail Magic, the Pilsner, and then they did an oat softened version of it that was, I guess, heavy on oats. That was a blend. And I ordered that, and I've got this big mug, and I sit on that Adirondack chair, you know what I mean, at the top of the hill,
Yep.
And you're looking down over everything, and I'm sipping on this Pilsner that was probably one of the best ones I've ever had. And I'm like, man, these guys just kill it with everything. And it's just amazing to me. I love the business side of it. I love beer. I love drinking beer. I love talking about how it tastes and everything. But I'm just always fascinated with the market that people are in and the demand that people have for certain styles, and that a company like that can sustain, and not only sustain but just completely kill it by 16-ounce cans coming off of that thing probably 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people lugging pallets of Julius, back up to that line so that people can take them out to their cars. It's just, I imagine it's got to be something like Amazon. Like I would love to walk into an Amazon warehouse and just like watch how they do it.
Yeah.
Because it's got to be something to behold. And I feel like, watching them operate a Treehouse is something similar. It's just a crazy model, and amazing what they're able to pull off.
I agree with you 1,000%, and I love Treehouse. I love Nate. I love the whole team. Such a wonderful team, and everyone there, they love what they do. They love coming to work every day, and they put their hearts into what they do out there. And they built an experience that people just want to keep coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep going to their pot. People, no matter what, they'll wait on those lines. And they'll be there. They'll always support Treehouse, and the beer, the quality, what you get out of those guys, phenomenal. Like you can't go wrong with Treehouse. There's a lot of breweries you can go to that you can be like, oh, it's okay, but Treehouse, they put out some of the best stuff you're gonna get with, again, a great experience, and like you really can. And then you go to BT's right down the road. Like you can't go wrong. You really can't. So. And then now they're expanding their tap room now, the new tap room.
Mm-hmm.
So they're really putting a lot of work into what they do and what they believe in. And I don't think you're gonna see that beer leave that property anytime soon. They don't have to. People support what they do. You know, like guys like all of us here that we're talking about it. Myself, you know, I still love and support what they do.
Yeah.
Shit, we drove a whole day. We left at like 5 a.m. Got home at 10 o'clock at night just to go up there and the Trillium.
Did
and
you?
grab stuff
Yeah.
and come back. So that's how good it is.
It's I think when you tell people, yeah, I went to Treehouse and Trillium, you're like, yeah, I get it.
I'm so glad that they're around because, you know, I feel like the Alchemist, you know, with Hetty Topper being that holy grail,
Yep.
the Hill Farmstead kind of created that generation of hype, and they kind of started what that was, and it eventually became the Treehouse and Trilliums, and we've got these fantastic beers that set the bar so high, and we're so much different than a lot of places we're doing. That it was a good thing for the industry. That now, I just love that there are plenty of options now. There's tons of beer out there, and I don't have to go all the way to Massachusetts. I can go to Middleton, New York, and you can go to other places and have world-class beers that are, you know, as good, if not better, you know, or unique in their own way, but like, just there's so many great beers out there now because of, you know, this boom and everything that's happened with the expansion and you know, the demand for these hazy beers. You know, some people, the purists, I think, aren't crazy about the hoppy beers, or, you know, the beers you can double, triple dry hop and turn around in a week. But at the same time, they've ended up opening up this world to a ton of more beers out there that are easily made. Maybe there's a lot more. There's obviously a lot more money that goes into them, a lot more hop, a lot more ingredients that make them more expensive and warrant the price of those 4-packs. But, you know, you've got incredible product out there that people are going crazy for, and there's so many options that everybody's kind of stepped their game up to you know, put out these high class, world class beers, and it's I think it's been great for the industry. I'm always curious though, and I'd love to get your intake, Will, or your input. You know, there's been such an explosion, and there's so many breweries around, and there's such a competition for shelf space. There's such a competition for which brewery will you visit when you go to New York. You know, things like that. How do you think you've seen that change over the years, and how do you think that's affected Equilibrium, if at all?
So, my opinion, I would tell you that every community that you go to can sustain a brewery, believe it or not. And this is good for you, Sean, by the way. If you have a good where you live and it's a good community and people behind you, every community can have a brewery. So we can have hundreds of breweries open up all over the place and still feel comfortable that you're going to be fine, because where you live in your community, where your brewery's at, your locals and the people around you will always support you. You put a good product out, they'll be there. So I see that. And then for New York, it's a lot of good breweries out there in New York. Tons of good breweries. But I see everybody doing just fine. And for us, you know, during COVID, believe it or not, we're selling more beer now than we ever have. That's the crazy thing. Like, we actually had a spike. At first, we freaked out, we panicked, but we have a spike that just we're selling so much more beer now. But as long as you put a good product out there and you believe in what you do and you're good to your community and you support your community too, I think you have nothing to worry about. Honestly, if you're doing all the good things and right things, you'll be fine. And for a lot of us in New York, there's 27 breweries in the city alone, and they're all doing just fine. You know, like, we're all able to eat, do well, and you know, just do good things. And in the state of New York alone, we have over 400 breweries, so it's a lot. It's a lot of breweries here. So we're along. You know, every town, every community is able to sustain a good brewery. If you really,
I agree with that. I think I always remember this. We had our buddy Seth. He's like the local PA rep for Great Lakes.
Okay.
And he said, pre-prohibition, there was more breweries than there are now.
Yes.
So we can absolutely sustain having the local brew pub, your local brewery, and things like that. I guess I think that maybe that tap room model is probably the most sustainable, where you can be the local fresh beer, come pick up a 4-pack or a 6-pack, have a couple pints, maybe a dinner, and that may be the model that can work the best. The distribution model. I mean, I always say I feel bad for those guys that, in PA we've got beer stores, and restaurants can do 6-packs, but we've got the beer stores and even liquor stores in New York, whatever it may be. I'm trying to think. I think I went to Beer World, not far from Monticello, and yeah, beautiful place. They've got, they can fill crowlers for you. They'll give you samples off a handful of taps, and they just have a glorious selection. But I mean, what's it like for somebody that's working in that place to have to order beer and have so many options now, where like he wants to support the local guy. He's got the distribution that's been around, that's the OG, or maybe the sales aren't good, but he's been working with that salesman forever. And you've got this new up and coming brewery and this and that. And there's so many options. And even when you're a buyer, you're a consumer that walks in there and you walk down the aisle and the cans just turn into a mosaic that you can't even concentrate on because there's just so many options. You know what I mean? How do you see everything and how do you stand out?
That's a tough one right there. That's actually a tough one. And that I do see that other side because I deal with those guys on the other side too there. So there's just too much going on in a lot of these stores, and it's hard to pick out like what they tell me as the buyers. Sometimes some people don't want what they already had, which is crazy to me. They're like, well, if I have MC squared, and you send me MC squared, it's hard for you to send me MC squared again because everyone's already had it. Like they want something new. They want the new, whatever you got. Let me always get the new. And so those guys always chase the new in their stores to sell. What's new?
Yeah,
What's
okay.
hot? And it's a lot of turnover with that. But I look at it for myself is if you're got a good product, if you had it once or twice, have it 100 times. If you like what you like, keep drinking it. There's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't have to be just that new thing that the new hot thing that you see or whatever. If it's a good product, support it. Just keep picking it up. But that's what I hear from beer stores sometimes and places like that. Well, we'll make sure if you're selling something, please make sure it's something new that people are going to want they never had. I'm like, it shouldn't always be that new thing, honestly. But I mean, for them, it's what I'm hearing that's what sells for them. That's what does for them. So, it's a tough situation to be in that point because there's thousands of breweries out there. But if every beer store, if there's hundreds of beer stores out there, and they're hopefully supporting more local if they can at the same time, it'd be great to see people just doing fine with what they send to these stores, and it doesn't always have to be new. It could be good beer. Just put good beer out there.
Yeah. I call that on tap culture. That so many people want to check in something new instead of having what they've had.
Yes.
That and I've been that same way. I mean, I did that for the longest time.
Yeah.
And I think and I still do. I still love trying new stuff and going to can releases and supporting the local guys when they put something new out. I love doing that, but I love getting an East Branch Helles Lager and a Pilsner in the fridge, always restocked so that that's kind of like my go-to, especially in the summer, man. It's just so nice to drink something light.
Good to crush on like that in summer, but you're right. It is that culture right now, and I hope eventually that turns it around and it changes because there's just too much good beer to not want to try it the second time or third time around. Like Alchemist, for example. Alchemist was my favorite. I could drink Alchemist always. They can keep putting the same beer out, and I'm always like, yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Done.
I'm always excited. We've been getting it a lot more lately. I always say Philly market's the best market because,
I agree.
we get some fantastic beers.
I used to drive up every year for Plenty Younger and go to Philly every year.
Yep.
They were the only place besides California that was getting it.
Yeah.
Philly market is strong. It's good. And I remember people telling me, why would you put your beer in a Philly market? There's too much beer out there. What are you doing? You're crazy. I'm not. I think Philly's a hot market. You get the guys from PA. You get the guys from Jersey. You get the guys from Delaware. People all come into Philly. Philly has that reputation already for craft beer. They get really good stuff. And there's a lot of good beer to choose from. So why not Philly? Philly's it's beautiful. It's a great city. I love it. And that was the smartest thing we did was going to Philly, by the way.
I believe it.
Huh?
Mr. Steve, I lost your audio, bud.
Lost your audio.
I can't hear you. Why don't you try hopping off and hopping back on quick and see if that helps it? Sean, why don't you tell the story real quick because I think Will will get a kick out of it. So your award-winning beer, B Parts, double New England IPA. Is it a double, Sean?
The double. Yep, 9%.
Double New England IPA with vanilla and honey. Right?
Oh, wow.
This thing is killer. They call it B Parts, and it's a fantastic beer. And we get and he's canning. He just does a fresh batch of it. He's trying to get it out to the people to get that hype up. So when he opens up the brewery, he's got things going for him. And Sean's canner broke on how many cans did you get done, Sean, before you?
Yeah. So we got like a little, just a little. We do 16-ounce cans out of this canning machine, and it's been giving us problems ever since we bought it. I mean, we're just not, we're good at making beer, but fixing machines is where we kind of not as great. You kind of learn as you go on. So I think we got like a case into it, and just thing totally broke down on us. We sent it out to a friend, actually Evan. I don't know if Evan Aiton's still watching on here or not, but he's kind of Mr. Do-It-All when it comes to the breweries in the area. So I sent it over to him, see if he could fix it. In the meantime, we're like, we'll just do some growler pours. If you want to come over to the garage, come on over. And in the meantime, our friends right here in town, they run a local cidery out of their garage, same concept, but they're like fully licensed. They distribute to all the, almost all the breweries in the area sell their cider. They reached out to us, said, we got like 40 cases of 750 milliliter bottles just sitting in our basement. We don't use them anymore. We switched bottles. If you want them, come get them. We're not even going to charge you. So we're like, all right. So next thing you know, we're filling, they're like 25 ounces, filling 25-ounce bottles, and like bomber style, we just filled them up and put them out this past Sunday, and like 2 hours later, it was gone. It was just like that. It was crazy. That's why listening to your guys' story was crazy. I'm like, it just so many parallels. I mean, obviously not to the level you got to, but like just at what the point we're at right now. It's that hype machine that you build, and it's cool. It's great to see everybody supporting us.
I'll tell you what, if you keep that going and you're able to send some more people that could actually try it and just like, God, this is some really good beer out here. Also get to know your local more, like become friends with more breweries in your area that you can talk to. You can, be around. That can also help you as well. Like for the other half, was it for us who helped us tremendously. But for you, it could be whatever brewery that's closest to you. You never know.
Yeah, we actually there's a local brewery, Locust Lane, that we've worked with a couple times now on collabs.
Yeah, nice.
Like the competitions we've won, that was like part of the prize, but now we're friends with them. So we've done 2 collabs with them, been able to get cans out, actually be able to like legally sell beer out like in distribution, and it's cool. Yeah, it's the more people that's for sure.
Definitely. I think you guys will easily, you guys would easily take off, especially the fact that your local community is already supporting you. You've already hit the jackpot right there.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, just listening to your story earlier, I'm like, man, like, talk about very similar story as to how things are starting. That's the other half of fam down there, whatever. Steve.
What's up, brother?
Yeah.
So, I think Will has really inspired me. And I think what we should do, Sean, since I'm already part of the founder circle,
You are.
is that's a reference to that brew. Have you seen Brews Brothers yet, Will?
I have not actually.
Have you heard about it? I'm sure somebody's told you about it.
I have, yep.
Shit's kind of wild. It's probably hit or miss whether or not you'll like it, but anyway, it's a reference to that show. But anyway, dude, I do all this traveling, Sean and Steve. We should try to make sure that I've got a handful of fan beer with me, and when I show up to, Equilibrium or, what are we talking about? Tilted, whatever.
Tilted Barn.
Tilted Barn, Vitamin C, whatever it is. When I'm traveling, I should bring some fan beers and just put them out there in the world
Well,
and let people try them. And you know what I mean?
Wouldn't hurt.
all about it. We freaking Steve over here is already shipping our beers all over the goddamn country because he's already Mr. I have somebody in every beer market that I trade with. So
I'm the chaser. I'm the chaser, Will.
Oh yeah, that's what
I'm the chaser.
right there. Shut up.
and I'm the benefactor of that.
Yeah.
He's the guy right there that's gonna take you. You can make the greatest beer possible. That man right there will take you everywhere you need to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the hype, that's for sure.
You believe
I'm the one that drove us to Treehouse.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the product is the number one thing because I think we've got an educated market now that they can taste a bad beer and they know when it's not very well balanced. It's just okay. It doesn't stand out because everybody's had world-class beers. There's so many out there. People have had the Tree Houses, the Equilibriums, the Russian Rivers, and they have something now to compare that against.
They do.
So I feel like the number one thing is you gotta focus on the product and make sure the liquid's incredible.
Yep.
But
what it sounds like Sean already has that part nailed down.
yeah, I think they do. I mean, I haven't cracked into B parts, the most recent batch, but that stout you guys did was fantastic. The previous versions of B parts have been great. I don't know. I'm really looking forward to it. But I think you guys have that part figured out. But I think the other part of it is how you guys are building that reputation and that that hype for it. That when everything is 100% legit, hopefully you guys will be off to the races.
That's the nice part about hearing Will and their story. Like it wasn't just overnight. They're talking in years, and like it's been taking us a while, but at the same time, it's not getting bent out of shape over not moving as fast as we would like to. Making sure we're making the right moves along the way is the biggest thing.
That's smart, man. And taking your time. Everything takes time.
Yep.
No matter what, it's gonna, you're gonna have a lot of obstacles in front of you. Things are gonna happen. Just keep your cool every time, and trust me. If you push hard enough, you're gonna get everything you want out of this. Like I never thought I'd be flying in all these other countries to sell a beer. Never in a million years. But yet, Pete always been like, "We got this. We got this. We're gonna do this. We got this."
Yeah. I think one of my favorite parts about brewing is like the uncertainty and then like just having to like adjust on the fly and just figuring it out. Like when you're doing it, it's stressful as shit. But like after you're done, you're like, oh, like damn, like who knows? Like maybe freaking selling bombers of some of our beer is the way to go in the future. Like you never know what could come out of it, and just making it work and getting it out there like it's satisfying.
So, Will, before you go, I know we've held you for 2 hours now almost.
Oh my! I love this. Yeah.
What I wanted to ask you was, I've been thinking about Instagram and social media and influencers and things like that. And how do you feel that not only what you've done online as a social media influencer, but others has affected the beer industry? And I've been really thinking about having a social media influencer show. Like I want to have, like I would love to get, not for selfish reasons, but Hoppy Floppy.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I would love to get, some of those other ones. She's the only one that comes to mind now that I put her in my mind.
She's a PA brunette.
Yes, Joanne. Yes, I love her, Joan. She's
Yeah.
phenomenal. Love her. She's amazing, and she was a friend before all this. So yeah, she
Okay.
not influencers. I love every single one of them. I think they're great for what we do. They actually help sell a lot of the beers that you have. They're able to, and once they start talking about it, people are listening to what they have to say. I know some breweries are like, oh, they don't like it, they hate it, whatever the case may be. Like we love it. Like they're friends of ours too, and we came from that. We came from that place. They are able to talk to the people, and people are listening to what they're saying and help sell your beer. So I would never knock any of them. I would always, support what they're doing at the same time, and happy that they're talking about you in a good way.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it just? It's so interesting to me that like how many Instagram accounts are out there that are beer focused and are posting new beers or finding a new creative way to post about beer, and it's all just to help promote the industry. And I just find it that it's a fascinating phenomenon that they are so popular and they've got tens of thousands of followers sometimes.
Some of them have followers in the breweries for themselves, by the way.
Yeah, it's incredible. It really is. And I just think it's fascinating and how much it does affect it. And I don't know. I think we're maybe at like 1,000 followers, but it is interesting that people tell us that, hey, like you guys posted about this Pilsner and I tried it and I loved it, or I didn't know that they were releasing something and you told us about it and that's great. So I think there is a service there, but it's just amazing. I did a
benefits of it too.
What's that, Sean or Steve?
We've already reaped the benefits of it. He sent beers to somebody.
The PA brunette.
Yeah, her, a couple thousand followers, and talked about us on another podcast before. Your boys in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
She called us her favorite beer she drank in 2019 or something like that. Like, yeah. Like
that's huge.
Yeah.
That is.
That's incredible.
They're co-signing you. They're putting their reputation up for who they are as well.
Yep.
So, God forbid someone try to like, oh, this beer wasn't good or something.
Yeah.
She believes in what you're doing, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I didn't know that, guys, because I do follow her as well. Yeah, I've been thinking about trying to put together a little show with some of the Instagram people maybe and kind of talking about that culture of things and because it sometimes it makes you think like for the most part they're probably not getting a whole lot out of it other than they're just promoting what they like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like maybe when you get to a certain level you can start doing sponsors and things like that and that's maybe where they hope to get, but it's the love of the beer, it's the love of the industry, things like that, and it would just be interesting to learn more about it and get behind all that because I just, like I said, I find it so fascinating, and I don't know.
I think that'd be a good show. I think people will listen and watch. Yeah. I highly recommend doing a show that'd be phenomenal. I would be watching that show.
Yeah,
why not?
You know what was interesting? One time, one of our local brewers did a social media. What would you call it? An influencers night. You remember, Sean? I brought you out there to Locust Lane in Malvern, and it was their anniversary week, and they shut down their brewery, and they invited a bunch of people off Instagram. And they're like, listen, the brewery's closed, but we're inviting you guys, come out, and we want you to check this place out. We want to give you the backstory, and we want you to try these beers if you haven't yet, and we'll show you a good time. And it was a fantastic event. It was a lot of fun, and I met a lot of really cool people there. But the other thing I thought was there was a lot of people that were quiet, that weren't talkers, that weren't sociable, but were just like on their phones the whole time, right? And it made me think, like, is there this thing going on where these people are maybe not the most outgoing people, the most friendly, whatever it is, they don't have a ton of friends in real life, but now that they're behind this Instagram or whatever, they have an ability to express themselves and to connect with people. And maybe that's a big part of it also. I don't know. And I'd love to find that out.
It is actually, and this is some way that people are able to express themselves, by the way, and also brewers as well. It's the same thing. When you meet a lot of brewers, they're like, some of these guys are like, they don't like to talk to you. They want to be to themselves. The same way with some of these people you have on Instagram, and the best way to express yourself sometimes is just to put yourself out there on social media, and it's easier that way. You don't have to talk to anybody when you're doing it, and if you do talk to somebody, you're messaging, you're just putting it on. It's not like you're physically talking to them.
Sure.
It's easier that way to express yourself.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's a very, I love the connection that we have when we do things like this. We get all these comments in the chat. We can put them on screen and we can connect with people. And the same thing with social media, where there's people that you might not have the opportunity to speak with, but you post something, you tell your thoughts about something, you express your feelings about a beer or about a brewery, whatever it might be, and people like it and love it and comment on it, and you have a connection and an attachment that you might not have had otherwise. And so I think it's an extremely powerful thing, but I don't know. I just think it would be something it'd be really interesting to dig into and learn about.
I know the day, like I told you, for Human Robot, when they opened up, me and Hoppy Floppy, by the way, we went to Human Robot day one, and we started doing all our lives, our social media pics and posts. We did all our stuff from there. Mm-hmm. And we believed in everything we were drinking. Everything we tasted, we're like, this place is phenomenal. The service is good. The beer is good. All the graphics that we seen on the T-shirts and the glass, everything was pretty cool. So we felt comfortable in promoting that day as much as we possibly could and shouting out Human Robot, a new place that just opened up that, who knows if anyone ever heard of it at the time. But with the fact that she has about 200-something thousand followers and people see Human Robot pop up on her thing, on her feed, everyone's asking questions. What is this place?
Yeah.
Like, I need to have whatever that is. Like, we went on the rant the entire day doing it, and we loved everything that we had. We didn't have a single bad beer out that place. And I'll tell you what, overnight, that place caught fire, and they were selling out their beer so fast. Every time they did crowlers, gone. Everything just flying out the door, which we thought was incredible. But I actually say I think it was a big part of that.
I believe it 100%. That's the way things are nowadays. I mean, a food critic or somebody that is an influencer that has 100,000 followers or a couple 10,000 followers, whatever it is. When you get to those numbers and you post about something, people listen and people show up, and you hear it all the time that it's like, we opened up this restaurant, things were doing pretty good, and then so-and-so tweeted about us. If it's the Barstool Sports guy going to a pizza place and rating it an 8.0.
He's right near me, actually. So, yeah.
Is he?
Yeah, he's near me.
Yeah. I watch his. I used to watch it all the time. I haven't watched it in a minute since he's been doing it indoors. But Dave Portnoy,
yeah. Cool. Actually, guys, because you guys kept talking about this beer. Afterwards, John now has my social media handle. If one of you guys can message me, I would like to try your beer if possible. If that's cool. I would love to try it, man.
Absolutely.
You guys got B parts left?
Yeah.
We'll find one.
Yeah.
You got one for Will.
Whatever you
We'll
need,
find one.
I would like to just try it at least.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. Yeah. Well, no problem. We'll hit you up.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, guys, we hit the 2-minute mark. It's a school night. What do you guys think? Are we hanging for a minute?
I actually gotta go to 3 Sons now. So.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I gotta pick up some stuff in 3 Sons.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, dude, Will, it was an absolute pleasure, man. I would really, maybe if you're available when we try to pull off this social media thing, I'd love to have you on too. We can have 6 people on screen at a time.
Anyone you need me to ask to come on.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. But dude, it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you, hanging out with you. Hopefully, when things are safe, we can do it in person.
Definitely.
We can catch up somewhere. So, I don't know if you're following us. Look up the Might Be Brews thing, and shoot me a message, or I'll shoot you a message when I think I'm going to be in the same place that you are, and let's try to hook up.
Sounds good to me, and thank you guys for all you do. And especially out there, what you're doing in Pennsylvania, man. It's a good place. You guys are all in a good place out there. So
we're lucky, man. Absolutely. It's easy for us. There's plenty of people to talk to and plenty of good beers.
All right, man. Thank you, guys.
Right. Yep. Thanks, man. Take care, all right? Guys, are you guys going to crack another beer?
I can. I got plenty of them.
Mr. Steve, no audio. What happened?
Mr. Steve.
I think he said F you to me.
You should take that $40 that you saved on your smoker and invest in better equipment, audio equipment.
I'm happy to see you cut his beard.
Let me tell you quick about the smoker and shit.
Oh my God.
I've been cooking pizzas. I have got the pizzas now to a point of like next level. Like I feel like, Mr. Steve, nothing.
No.
Try unplugging your
About now.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Have you tried rebooting your router?
Fucking gremlins over here.
There you go.
Did you try unplugging it from the wall?
That's exactly what I did.
That's my favorite is when you're on the phone with an IT person. You're like, listen, I'm getting this error message. Is your computer plugged in?
Yeah.
Restart. Just restart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is your router plugged into the wall?
I'm going to hang for a little, but I got to pee
I've
first.
done it all already.
Okay, go for it. So,
Crisp
I'm
on
gonna.
the
What's up?
How's the crisp on the pizza?
Very crispy.
Oh my
Look,
God.
I got a pizza stone. I put it on my gas grill outside. My gas grill is 5 burners, so it gets to 800 degrees in there with the lid closed. It's hot as shit. And
it's pretty hot, man.
I let the stone heat up for at least a half hour. Like, I'm letting that shit get extra smoking, right? And the new technique that I found is I'll crack the lid of the grill just 2-3 inches, right? Just enough for me to slide my peel in there and get the pizza in so that I don't lose heat off of, from opening the lid all the way. So I just crack it a little bit, slide the pizza in and close it. I don't really lose that much heat. And with the pizzas, I've been doing another thing that I did is I think I was putting too much oil in it. The recipe that I was originally using called for like 3 tablespoons. So a good amount, 3 tablespoons of olive oil or vegetable oil, whatever. But I've been using olive oil in the dough, and I've pretty much eliminated that. And it's mostly just flour, water, yeast, and a tiny bit of salt, and that's it. And these pizzas now, when they come off, they're so light, and they're crispy, but they're still chewy and doughy a little bit. I don't know, man. I feel like the last couple pizzas, I'm like, okay, these are fucking awesome. But I just ordered so Evan, shout out Evan. He's got a pellet smoker. I want to find out, Evan. You should hop on and chat with us if you can, Evan. I posted the link earlier. Let me see if I can do it. I'd love to chat with you.
Evan's the fucking man.
I love Evan. He's the greatest guy.
Yeah.
So I've got a pellet grill, and I ordered an attachment that you take the grill grates out and you put this pizza oven in it.
Wow.
And it fits right over the burn box, so you get 800, 900 degrees, but it's wood fire because you're using the wood fire from the pellet grill. So you'll get a little bit of that wood flavor taste, supposedly, and it's got its own dome, the whole deal, but it's like an accessory.
Damn.
Oh, all right, I'm gonna have to message this to Evan.
I want to get a beer. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to grab one too. I want to find out what Evan got for a smoker.
Do you need some basil still, John?
Yes, and I would love my fucking sprinkler back.
Oh, you can have it back.
I'm just messing with you. I'm just trying to give you a hard time
basil
because I lent it to you, 6 months ago.
Oh, stop! It hasn't been that long.
January sprinkler.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had an Indian summer for one day. My kids wanted to run through it.
Yep. All right, where is Mr.
My yard's still burnt, so it's.
Evan, I'm Facebook messaging you right now.
John, what did you think about the coffee stout?
It was fantastic. There was a lot of cinnamon.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Super cinnamon. Is it on the?
Who made that? I can't see your.
Warwick Farm.
It doesn't say
I've
cinnamon.
heard great things about them.
Maris Otter, if that's cinnamon, I don't know.
No, Maris Otters are green.
They said it in the description when they were posting the cans that there were cinnamon flavors to it.
There it is. Milk stout aged on cinnamon and Mostra coffee. Is Mostra the same thing that those guys were just talking about?
That's what we were just talking about, Mostra.
Yeah.
Fucking A.
It's definitely a lot of coffee.
Yeah, did you think so?
I thought the milk stout of it rounded it out to not overpowering coffee.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I feel like it had a lot of flavor. Milk stouts to me, it didn't come off to me as a milk stout. I didn't drink it and be like, this isn't doing it for me. There was enough going on.
I like a good milk stout, honestly, if it's done right. No? Why not?
I guess I do. I mean, I like this one.
You like the Imperial 9.5. That's what you like.
Is that what this is?
Yeah.
Okay, that's probably what it is.
That's what I like too. I like my stouts chewable.
Yeah, me too. Yo, I got to tell you, Steve, we were me and Mr. Steve were messing around on trying to get some maybe setting up like a Teespring or something like that. One of those websites where you can design shirts and do custom stuff. So we were tossing around some ideas, and you inspired one of them. Remember when you called yourself well, I like to consider myself a stoutsman.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I fell in love with that word. I was like, I love that word. I want that to be. So anyway, I was trying to design the shirt that said Stoutsman on it.
Stoutsman.
You know what I mean? And try to figure out a way to make that.
Paying for it? I know that'd be awesome.
Now you got to give him a part of every t-shirt sold.
Whatever. He was just the inspiration. He didn't give me the idea. He didn't say Stoutsman.
I'm pretty sure that shit's on the record. I'll call Taylor. He'll pull the tape.
He will.
Oh.
You got one of the cans, right?
Yeah, man. This is one of the soft cans, I would call it, that I didn't feel comfortable selling, but it was pretty delicious.
Not selling.
Yeah,
you don't sell cans, bro.
Donating.
Listen, who was it? There was that one brewery that
Put the carrots back.
we got cans from. I don't want to bash anybody, but every crowler that I got was 3/4 full.
I
was like, what the fuck?
Columbia Kettle Works.
Yeah, I grabbed the thing and I'm like, this isn't right. And then you open it and there's this much room in the keg.
Yeah, it's too much.
The crowler.
Too high on it. It's also it's crazy, man. Beer is, when you're pouring beer off a tap, how much you have to do to get it to pour right. When we're filling crowlers, well, I mean, we actually have like a picnic tap, but we'll put like a 1 foot long tube on the end of the picnic tap that goes all the way to the bottom of the crowler so that it doesn't foam up like
reduce
that.
the CO2. But also like, do you guys like purge it with CO2 and all that too?
Yeah, I mean it depends.
Oh, yeah.
I mean I try to, but like if they're gonna drink it right away, it's not as big of a deal. But if they want to hold on to it, that's definitely important. I mean, like if we're canning, absolutely. Growlers, most people are picking them up on the weekend and drinking them right away. So what is it really matter, you know?
What's up, Evan?
Not too much. How you guys doing?
What up?
Man.
What up?
Good
He's
to
out.
talk to you.
I see our canning machine behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the cannula.
Is it?
Ah.
A nice seal.
Look at that.
Looks
Oh,
nice.
Oh,
That sounds really nice.
that was beautiful. You guys got to
Mr.
for that.
Mr. Steve, what are you drinking?
I'm clearing out my glass with some water right now.
Are you? That looks like a beer.
It looks like Brandywine water.
I probably need to do the same thing. I'm gonna grab a beer.
I was going to do the mosaic from Warwick.
All right, I'll do that.
That's a cool label. Oh,
You know,
fridge
me
too.
and
Yeah, you guys made it on the fridge.
Very honored.
I didn't forget about you. I promised I'm picking that up this weekend.
Whenever's good for you, just let me know.
You know, we released B parts and all hell broke loose. So, but that settled down. So,
It was a whirlwind.
it was.
do you have any left that if anybody's watching, they might want a donation of B parts?
It is very slim pickings. I think I got like 10 bottles left in the garage right now, and both are accounted for. It's crazy. Like, just like, I mean, we knew it was going to be a pretty big response, but it was crazy. Like, just as soon as we posted something, just the amount of people that responded, it was just out of control. Especially through Steve. Like, that's like Will that was just on there. Like, you know, like just the hype that you can build around things, and like him with the amount of people in the beer industry, like just everyone wanted it. Everybody. And I mean, with Locust Lane, that kind of helped blow it up too. Everybody already knew what they were getting. So
It was good. It was my first time trying it, and I passed it around to a few people, and it was fantastic.
I appreciate it. I mean,
How many gallons was your last batch?
it was I think we got like out of the fermenter, we filled 20 gallons. There was probably a little bit more than that, but not enough to try to fill the fifth sixtel.
Yeah.
We were like, you know, we were getting down to the nitty gritty. So we just filled 4 sixtels. You know, with a 9%er, that's probably about right. You know, you're not going to yield your full barrel at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, so
We have to settle down a little bit if we're going to make more.
What's next? What's the next brew day?
probably it sucks because of course, like after all this, like we got our beer down, you know, like we got brewing again. The garage is pretty ready, brew ready. And you know, we just got through this, and boom, me and him are both going on vacation in 2 weeks. So we're like,
Good time. If you can squeeze one in, you got 2 weeks for it to sit.
no, I absolutely, I understand.
There's nobody home. We're too paranoid for that.
Nobody's around. If neither of us are home, no one's around to check on the beer and the equipment. Like, God,
I check on it every day.
power outage or something, or
Yeah.
I don't know.
We have going.
Do a saison and just let it ride.
Yeah,
John and I. You got John and I. We'll go check. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
As soon as we get back,
It'll all be gone by the time you get back.
Yeah. Why can we only fill 1/6 though? What happened to all the beer?
but we'll be back on it as soon as we get back in
Why is Mr. Steve sleeping on Riley's playground?
early to mid July. So we don't really, you know, I think Steven might be leaving again at one of these points, but I'm pretty much in there for the long haul. So even if he goes away, I'll be around to watch the equipment. So the goal is in the next couple of months to be able to have 2 beers going at a time, fermenting at a time, and really, try to kick things up a notch as fast as we can. But money's always an issue.
I'll be starting on the Might Be
Just look at Steve's. Yeah, this thing, I love the nose on this. That mosaic is just so inviting. It smells like it.
I love mosaic beer. And I know Steve does.
Yeah, it's all mosaic.
That's really good.
Yeah. It's like that other one. What's the other one that I had? The Simcoe?
I didn't have that one yet.
Yeah, the Simcoe. It's so that flavor. You know what I mean? But this is really good.
So, Steve, you went there?
Yeah.
Is it legitimately on a farm?
Yeah, it was like there's like one building and then just farmland. Okay. So I don't know what they do when they're not, in COVID can release mode. But it's very small. It was like behind somebody's house, it looked like. He's not wrong.
I just saw Fish's comment. It does go stale fast with air in the crowd. Absolutely. Yeah, we purge. If we're doing a crowler, like an actual crowler, we're purging that bad boy with CO2.
Yeah.
On it. It's the growler. Like if somebody brings a glass growler and like, I'm drinking this shit tonight, operation's not going to take effect that quickly. They're gonna crush it. Love it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've had a few poorly filled crowlers over the spring that you could tell something was up. Like I've had these beers on tap. I know what they taste like, and I've had this sitting in my fridge for a week, and it does not taste great.
Yeah, 2-3 days you're pushing it if it hasn't been purged.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
It's like I don't know, like on a large scale brewery, but like for us, like when we're filling them, we change the way we're pouring. Like I'm not going to pour like I would into a cup or a glass as I would into your growler. So, but when you go to the brewery, they're pouring that off the same system. So I mean, I know from tired hands, if you watch them fill a growler, I mean, how much they waste. You see all that foam they're just pouring.
Yep.
So for us, I just completely release all the pressure out of the keg before I even start filling it, and
like 1 PSI.
Yeah,
that rides slowly.
Yeah, I just basically it's like filling up with CO2 as I'm pouring, and it just that works well. But yeah, I mean,
beer guns help a lot
at a brewery filling growlers.
Do you use a beer gun at all?
Yeah,
that helps.
Yep.
So when did we have Attic on the last
pretty sure
podcast? Do we actually drink those?
I think you did.
At least one of them.
I was trying to think of like who to give shout outs to, like who have we not, or what have we done, or what have we had since then. I think Attic has really good beers. I especially was blown away by their New England styles, but even like the Pilsner and stuff was good. I liked Attic a lot. I wish that they were a little bit more forgiving on the price of their cans, because they were selling individual 16-ounce cans like they were draft pours. But it is what it is. But it was pretty good.
So what were they doing? Was it like 24 a 4-pack?
Well, no, you had to order them by the can, and it was like $5.50, $6 a can.
What do you know? What size system they're brewing on?
No.
Yeah.
I'd love to have them on. I talked to the owner when I picked the cans up because they were really nice. I don't know if I said this on the last show, but I messaged them on Facebook. I said, I know you guys don't open till Wednesday, but I'm in the neighborhood on Tuesday. is there any chance if I place an order I can pick beers up? And they go, yeah, we've got staff in here filling cans on Tuesday. So, if you give us some time to get caught up on cans, we'll get you your order, no problem. And I didn't even have to tell them who I was or anything.
That's cool.
You're the drunk that can't wait.
You know what I mean? So, but anyway, they were extremely incredible customer service. We were messaging back and forth, and they're like, "Oh, what time do you think you're going to be here?" And I was like, "I'm on my way." And they're like, "All right, we're waiting for you." And it was just really easy and incredible service. And then when I got there and talked to the owner, the guy was incredibly nice, but I'm just not sure that he like what Will was saying. Not everybody's incredibly outgoing and going to be like an incredible conversation piece. I don't know. So I was kind of like, I don't know if he would be the best guest, but extremely nice. But I'm impressed by the beers, and I want to learn more about their background and how they're able to put out such great beers. You know what I mean? It's always fascinating to me, how a place, can when there's so much going out there, how do you stand out? And when you taste beers or multiple beers from somebody, especially because nothing against Wissahickon, I love their beers. What's that double IPA, Steve? Pool?
Devil's Cut?
Devil's Pool?
Something like that.
I don't think it's Devil's Cut. I think it's Devil Pool.
No?
Devil's Pool.
Okay.
Something like that. Wissahickon has great beers, and I love their beers. But, I'm having these beers, those beers, Attic beers, and I'm like, Attic is up there. These beers are tasting incredible compared to everything else in my fridge at the moment. So I don't know. I think that they're deserving of the shout out, but at the same time, I'm like, there's something about that model of selling by the can, which is nice because I'm like, I don't want to have to get a 4-pack of my box, maybe. If I'm unsure about it, I can get one or get two and give one to Mr. Steve. I keep one, so I got one of each style. And then if I was pretty sure about a New England IPA, I got a couple more of those. But for the most part, every beer that I had was good. But it was strange. I haven't seen anybody sell beer, order online, buy the 16-ounce can.
That's pretty.
A lot of places like Levante's no, we're not going to do a mixed 4-pack. You know what I mean? We're not. A lot of places say that.
Prices are so different between beers.
Yeah, you would have to charge
Unless
I don't know what you'd have to charge.
All the beers the same price as the most expensive one.
Yes.
Then you could do mixed 4-packs.
Plus, I think they probably have the demand that why not just sell a 4-pack? You have to buy a 4-pack. So what? If you can't struggle through 4 beers, you know what I mean?
If you don't like it, pass it on to someone else.
And 4-packs are a lot more palatable than you go to the beer distributor and you got to get,
Got to get a case or a half rack
pack or a 24-pack of, your Molson Canadian or whatever,
Yeah, I mean, I love the individual beer sale model. I think Treehouse does a great job, and I mean, obviously, we're talking about freaking Treehouse, so not everybody's going to stack up to that. But when the bottle rooms, I don't know if the bottle room started selling individual cans in there for all their different beers they had. I love that. I love being able to walk in and be like, let me just get a mixed 4-pack for the night. 4 different cans. For me,
Joe Burns too.
I guess it depends who you are. For me, I'm a cheap son of a bitch. So I'm like, hey, I don't want to buy 4 4-packs, but I can get 4 different beers in a 4-pack. Hell yeah. I'm all about that. It's going to take me forever to roll through 4 4-packs. I just don't drink enough to do that. So I love the individual beer model. I get why some breweries don't do it, but I mean, I can see it working either way. I think if you're going to do individual beers, you've got to make sure all your beers are good, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick, let's answer Fish's question. What do you guys think? Are you guys seeing more sours and fruit beers? I'm going to say no, not necessarily.
Yeah. Not as many lately.
No. Not
Fish,
here.
you're wrong. You're just wrong.
I think the problem is like those crazy sours. Those are isolated to small breweries that are putting them out. People are picking them up at the brewery. Like you're not going to find that kind of sour just sitting on the shelf. So
I will say, like,
because it'll blow up.
Yeah. Yep.
Sequench has taken a spot in my fridge and will for months probably. Dogfish Head Sequench Ale is a fantastic beer, but when you've done what I've done and drank it for a month straight, it starts to get to you. You can feel that acidity in your throat and your chest and every part of your being. But it's a fantastic beer to have around. And I mean, I just love being outside in the summer, doing whatever, swimming, mowing the grass, running around with the kids, whatever. It's hot as shit outside. I love cracking a Sequench. And it's become a personal, or it's become like a staple in the fridge. Another one that I really like that I wish I had more of is I just made fun of it, but Labatt Blue. Labatt makes Labatt Blue, Labatt Light, and there's a Labatt Citra.
Huh.
And I've had it before, and I really liked it. And I found a 12-pack of it, and I got it. And it's good, but I feel like it is very sweet, and I don't remember it being this sweet. So I don't know if this 12-pack has been sitting for like an extra long time, since last year or something like that. I don't know. But that is one of those beers that, like, it's a low ABV, it's easy to drink, but it's got some flavor to it. And it's something other than like a Miller Lite or whatever that you can have that is probably a little bit more approachable than some of the other beers, but cheap. Like you can put a bunch of those in your fridge, and when you're just trying to like crack a bunch of beers in the summer with your buddies out back.
Yeah.
I gotta step away for a sec. I'm gonna mute my mic.
Okay, you go ahead. You go yell at your kids or your wife.
No. All you guys, I got trash cans.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I want one of those. I forgot about that.
Take these out, you throw it away, and you got a nice trash can.
Awesome.
I got one for you guys.
You know what? This group is like what I want to have over for a barbecue.
That'd be
like
cool.
I want to sit out back with you guys and bullshit and have some good beers and have some good pizzas and brisket or brisket pizza and just
I gotta have fucking pizza, dude. I have not had a crispy banging pizza, and I don't know if I've ever had one like fresh out of the oven. Like,
have you been to Anthony's in Exton?
Yeah, it's still not like, I don't know, man. Like I feel like they just don't put that personal touch to it. Like
it's probably more that style though, but it depends. Like I paid a lot of attention tonight when I cooked.
Yeah.
And I pulled the kids off a little bit early because I like, dude, it's crazy with how hot it is. The cheese bubbles on top and you're watching it, and I like to see it turn brown, like it's starting to caramelize.
Yeah, absolutely.
By the time it gets to that point, the bottom has also gotten a little bit burnt, a little bit charred. I love that. I love that flavor in my crust. The kids not as much, so I pull that one a little bit earlier, and there's not really many char spots on it, and the cheese isn't caramelized yet, but it's very melted, and it's fine. I mean, it's still a great pizza, but the I don't know, man. I've been like working out technique, like how you actually shape the dough.
Yeah.
And when you're doing it and you're pushing the dough out into the circle, you're pushing the air to the edges so that you're not really like folding the crust over to make the crust. You're just pushing air into it. So when you cook it, that's what bubbles. Weird shit like that I've been like learning about and figuring out.
That's
cool. It's just made for such a good texture, like on the crusts. And I don't know, man. I use this like really, like a really good like what do you call it, mozzarella. You know what I mean? So it's just got a lot of flavor, a lot of grease, a lot of fat. You know what I mean? But like, it just makes for like a very flavorful pizza. And I've been making this sauce now too. Like, and what's weird is like when I first started doing this, I'm like adding ingredients in. Like, oh man, I'm gonna season my I'm gonna flavor my olive oil. I'm gonna put garlic and thyme and rosemary into my olive oil before I add it to the crust, or the dough mixture, to try to like add some flavor and infuse that into it because I want more flavor and I want to do this and that. And I gotta give a shout out to Delap. What's up, Delap?
Yo, what up, Delap?
I've been doing like these crazy things, but the best pizzas that I've made have been from completely reducing the ingredients. Like I've reduced the olive oil, I've reduced like the other seasonings that I put into the dough, and it's very simple, like bread flour, water, yeast, a little bit of salt.
What flour are you using?
Just bread flour. That's all I can get right now.
Like how many cups are you using?
So I'm doing pretty much my recipe is 2 cups of bread flour, 1 cup of like the hottest my tap can get, which is probably about 120 degrees. That water going in, a packet of yeast, and a little bit of salt and a little bit of sugar.
Okay. Well,
and that's really it.
With the flour, I actually started making flour from my spent grains.
Of course you did.
Really?
Yeah.
I would love to try that.
Crackers and stuff like that. So now I'm starting to dehydrate some of my spent grains and then blend it into a very fine flour.
Ooh.
So I have some from
a
grain porter I did. If you want to do a dark pizza.
Yeah.
I got to make some. I have some to make from our most recent IPA that I got myself dehydrating and making the flour. But if you want to try some stuff like that, I've been messing around with making actual flour to bake with.
Yeah. Well, you know what? When I was doing the heavy or like having some oil in there, I was thinking like this dough could potentially be like a good hoagie roll. So I'm gonna try that too when I get more. I'm out of yeast now, so I got to get some more yeast. But dude, none of the grocery stores have it.
Yeah, have stores gotten it back in yet?
No, you can't find it anywhere. But I want to try it where like I take like a similar recipe and then just form it into like a hoagie roll and cook it the same way.
Yeah.
And probably be able to do a pretty good hoagie roll. But I don't know, man. I've been doing so same thing. Like I was putting all kinds of seasonings into my sauce.
Yeah,
I was getting a can of San Marzano tomatoes, and I'm putting smoked paprika and garlic and pesto and all this other shit into there to try to make this. I was cooking onions and then putting the tomatoes on top of it, and I'm like, it's good, but I'm kind of making a spaghetti sauce.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's tons of flavor, but it's a lot. So I started toning things back and really cooking down. So it's a lot more simple. It's like the tomatoes, salt, a little bit of sugar. I like adding a little bit of sugar to it. I feel like it rounds it out a bit. And some salt and like a tiny bit of roasted garlic and oregano.
Yeah.
But nothing crazy. Like oregano is always a good pizza flavor. And I put a little bit of each one of those things in there. And I cooked it for like an hour and a half on low heat, just reducing it. Nice. And I brought it down to like about halfway. So it's a much thicker sauce. And man, was it good. I mean, and it's crazy because it's like it's simpler. You're getting a lot more of that tomato flavor. You're accenting that tomato flavor just enough to bring it out and to balance it to where it's like, this is good. And I don't know, man. It's been a blast. I'm having so much fun with it.
Yeah, that's great. I've been doing a similar thing with like taco meat. I make my own taco seasoning now instead of buying packets.
Okay.
It tastes so much better. And it's so simple. You're using like 4 or 5 ingredients, a tablespoon or 2 of each.
Yep. Yeah, I can't wait. I want to have a get together like this where we can get together with beers, but like I want to have like 5 or 6 pizza doughs ready, and just like I did it with the next door neighbors this past weekend, and I was just cranking out pizzas back to back, and then slicing them up, and the kids and the parents and everybody's just like eating slices of pizza, and it was just so much fun. But and now that I can get them to cook so fast, it's not a big deal.
Don't tease me, man.
Dude, it's fun. And
my wheelhouse right there.
yeah, but I'm excited to get this pizza oven. When I get this pizza oven that connects to the pellet grill, that's what I want to talk to you about, Evan. Tell me about your pellet grill. What'd you end up going with?
So I ended up picking up a used Cabela's pellet smoker, but it's the same brand, same company. It's Louisiana Smokers that makes Pit Boss.
Okay.
And a couple others, you know, and it was.
Is it round?
It's round. It has a glass. It actually has glass in it, which doesn't really serve much of a purpose.
No, that's good. I've been seeing that a lot more lately, where having glass, you can kind of see, keep an eye on stuff.
Keep it clean. You got to clean it every.
Exactly.
But it's been great. I did smoked salmon last week for like 4 hours. Then within minutes, you just go right from smoking to grilling and cook up all the veggies.
What's your high temp? What do you get to? Any idea?
Go up to it goes up to 500.
Okay, mine only gets to like 400.
Yeah, this one goes up to 500, and it goes. I forget what low smoke is.
Well, depend. I don't know what kind of control you have. Okay,
nice.
Yeah, it looks like. Yep, it looks like your controller is probably similar to mine. Have you messed with the P setting at all?
No, not totally yet.
Do you know what that is? Or have you heard about it?
A week and a half.
Okay. Have you heard about that, the P setting?
Yeah.
Yep. So I mess with mine sometimes, and you can set the P setting, and that, you know, I guess can depending on like your outdoor temperature and your altitude, you can kind of tweak how that auger moves and how much smoke is going into there. Mine on its own does not, even when it's on the smoke setting, does not put out a ton of smoke.
Really?
When I do that, I mean, you can see it smoking, but like any food that I take off of there does not have a good smoke ring.
Okay.
I ended up buying a stainless steel smoke tube. So it's just like a hexagon piece of sheet metal, and I stuff it with pellets.
Just to
take my propane burner. I light one end until it actually lights fire, and I let the thing burn for 3, 4, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then when I think that it's actually burned long enough, I blow out the flame, and then I can just set it in the grill, and that thing will smoke real hard. I see a lot of pictures of people online posting using 2 of those things.
Yeah, that's one thing with pellet smokers. You don't get as much smoke as a stick burner.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually surprised how much on this one. It really puts out a lot of smoke.
Some of them I think really do.
Yes, I'm going to try it tomorrow. Tomorrow night, I'm going to do a pork shoulder to do some pulled pork.
Yeah.
Father's Day. So I'm going to see how it goes for a real long run on high smoke. See how it does. See if we need to add anything to it. But yeah, it's not the same. You're not going to get the same bark.
So with me personally, it took me a long time to figure it out. But I would put a big pork shoulder or a brisket on, and I would set it to 225 or something like that, and it would cook so fast. I would be getting stuff finished in 6 hours, 8 hours that I was thinking it would take 12 hours.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? When I had my electric smoker, I'm like, if I set this at 225 with the electric smoker, it's going to take 12 hours. You know, I did a pork shoulder one time where I was being stubborn and did not move it above 225. And I think it took me 20 hours to get a pork shoulder up to like 200, 205. So I ended up finding out that for me, when I'm cooking stuff, like a brisket or whatever, I will actually put it on the smoke setting, which with my P setting currently is only getting me to on the control at least 180, 190 degrees.
Okay.
But I will run it on that for as long as possible. I might get 4, 5, 6 hours on that, and then if the internal temperature is not where I want it, I start cranking it up incrementally when I have like 3 or 4 hours left before I need to pull it, and I'll just start, cranking it up to get it past the stall or whatever is going on. But yeah, it's I don't know. That's what I found with mine in particular.
What one do you have?
Mine's a smoke hollow.
Okay.
Which is like, from everything that I've read, I believe is like a Walmart, Sam's Club brand. I actually bought it at a BJ's, but it's it's like a discount brand of Masterbuilt.
Okay.
So I think you can get a lot of their grills at like BJ's and Walmarts and stuff like that. And this one I found, and it was like $400, and I kind of didn't really pay much attention to it. Because it wasn't that expensive, and I was looking at pellet grills, but I wasn't sure what I was going to get. And then when I walked into BJ's one day, they had it on sale for $180.
I think I saw the same one when it was like $260, and I was about to pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, it was like $180. I was like, dude, this thing's like $250 off right now. Like, it's really cheap. And whatever, like I ended up getting it then. And it's been nice, but like, what's crazy is shout out to Mark Arcuri, I think is how you say his name. I think he's our age, but he was telling me he just got a Pit Boss.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and
it's
what
the company that makes mine.
Yep. And what he ended up doing was buying a controller from Rectech.
Yeah.
He bought the Wi-Fi controller because you can pair it to your Wi-Fi, so it's connected to your network, and then you can use the app from anywhere. Like, you could be in another state and control your grill out of the country as long as you have an internet connection because of the way that everything works. But
it's pretty cool.
I thought that was really neat. But they actually have they call it a PID controller, and for whatever, I don't know what PID stands for, but it has an algorithm. So instead of like, it still has a terminal on the board to connect to your to your igniter and your auger and your fan and all that stuff, but there's actually an algorithm on the board, in the memory that's figuring out how to run everything to make it, and maybe less temperature swing. So they say that it makes a big enough difference that people actually buy this board and wire it into their smoker.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. Another thing you can do cheap way is actually they sell them, or you can just do it as a smoker blanket put on top to insulate the smoker.
Okay, on top.
On your temperature swings, and it also really help you save on pellets too.
I go through pellets like crazy. If I turn it up above smoke or above like 225, dude, I rip through pellets.
Yeah, so it would help to to insulate it, because a lot of the cheaper smokers have thinner steel.
Yeah.
So they just heat out and they just let that heat out. So if you do an insulated blanket on it, because it's not like a regular grill, we have a lot of fire. So if you insulate that lid, then you're with like a moving blanket, cut it to the shape of the top half of the smoker.
Yeah.
You can really insulate it and keep a lot of that heat in there, so it's not going to be coming on as often.
Interesting.
That's where your money is. And a lot of the smokers that are like $800, $1,000 for something that's half the size that you have, the steel's twice as thick.
Yeah. I've seen that a lot. People talking about how thick the gauge is of the steel and how much, heavier duty it is and things like that. I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. I mean, I feel like mine is like a bare bones, basic, but it was interesting. I was
the same auger assembly as a higher end smoker, but just with a thinner sheet metal body. So if you could insulate it a little bit, it'd help you a lot on saving pellets.
You know, what I read is that Traeger was the OG.
Yep.
And Traeger designed a pellet grill and came out with it, and they let the patent slide. The patent got out and was no longer copywritten or whatever the deal was. And all of a sudden, all these other companies mimicked the exact design and started putting out pellet grills. And that's why you see like all these other brands.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man. Mine's super cheap. Mine, I ended up finding out there's actually like a class for them. It's not hexagon shaped at all. It's a round barrel, and it's a 20-inch diameter.
Okay.
And I think there's a ton of them that are different brands that are designed the same way. It's a 20-inch round barrel. Mine happens to be 24 inches in width on the inside.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a 24 by 20 grate pretty much.
That's probably the same size as mine.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think pellet grills are. Where have you been getting your pellets?
Right now, just Home Depot.
You getting Traegers?
Or hats. Yeah, just buying the pellets that they have there.
Is it Traeger brand?
Yeah.
So I did that, but then I started finding at Home Depot. So or if you go to Home Depot, Traeger brand pellets are like $20 for a 20-pound bag.
Yeah.
At Lowe's, they have Pit Boss brand pellets, and it's $15 for a 40-pound bag.
I guess I'm going to Lowe's tomorrow.
So
because
I found that, and I've been buying these pellet or the Pit Boss brand because $15 for 40 pounds.
Everything with Traeger is more expensive.
Yes,
You get a pellet smoker that's this big, and it's $600.
Yep. Sean, what do you think?
I think that's next level shit right there.
A lot of people bitch.
A little electric smoker.
I made some of the best shit I've ever made on my Masterbuilt electric.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's just it sucks that Masterbuilt. They obviously, I mean, there's a reason that's probably on discount right now because the internal thermostat or the thermostat, the thermometers, everything is off. Like nothing is right. So I had to like go buy an external thermometer and a 4-probe thermometer and like hook up 2 for the ambient temperature and 2 that go into the meat because I couldn't trust. I mean,
no fish. This is now a pellet smoker show.
Welcome to Might Be Smoked.
Might Be Smoked. Yes.
Might Be Barbecue.
There you
Might Be
Barbecue. I like it.
Yeah. So
Cowboy John.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. Like I finally got the temperature right. My first pork shoulder was horrible. It didn't cook right. I couldn't even pull it at the end of the day. And then this past weekend I did it again, and it was perfect. But I used the external thermometer, and like I was keeping my settings at probably consistently like 250 and 260 to keep it at 225.
Yes.
Welcome to Might Be Smoked.
To leave it at what?
250 and 260 to keep it at 225.
Yeah.
And like I didn't know that the first week. I was like, I'll just go off of the thermometer inside the unit. No, it was totally like 20 degrees off at most of the
And is yours smoking pretty good now?
Yeah, I dropped the tray right onto the fucking heating element. I got rid of that holder for it, and it smoked great the whole time. I mean, it wasn't like a like your pellet smoker kind of smoke, but like it was I was consistently getting smoked the whole time. I added it like every hour and a half, added a little bit more, and it was good. Great bark, great smoke flavor.
The electric grills seem to have a much higher smoke level because it's creating heat, but it's also putting out like thick billowing smoke, where these pellet grills are extremely easy to use. You just fill this hopper up with like 15, 20 pounds of pellets and set it to a temperature, and you can walk away and the thing just keeps feeding itself and keeping that temperature. But that's the only thing creating the heat.
Yeah.
So in a lot of these smokers, it's an efficient burn.
Yeah.
So you're not getting a lot of extra smoke. Like, it's getting the temperature but burning efficiently. So you're getting this like thin, I think they call it blue smoke or gray smoke, where, it's not really thick and white or thick and black. It's coming out almost clear, and it's not leaving a whole lot of flavor behind.
Yeah. That's where I thought with if something you need a lot of smoke on, like if you're going to do a brisket, something you need a ton of smoke, I'm probably going to do it on my stick burner for the first 2-3 hours, because that's where your smoke goes in, is that first 3 hours. And then throw it on the pellet smoker to finish off for the next 10 hours.
Nice. That's a smart idea. Whose ring just went off?
I think that might have been mine.
I looked, it wasn't mine.
It's not mine. Nobody likes me.
I know that ringtone. It's every time somebody walks near my front door. Yeah, you know what's crazy? What I've been doing is, even if like faster cooks, if I'm doing something that's chicken, right? I did chicken recently, and it was just individual pieces of like chicken thighs, and I didn't want to slow smoke it, so I lit up my smoke tube. I put that on the grill, and I had it up at like 400 degrees, and I was planning on cooking this thing in like 20-30 minutes, turning it around pretty quick. But I still had smoke left on the smoke tube.
Mm-hmm.
That smoke tube is still burning when I'm done the cook, and I maybe have 20-30 minutes of smoke left, depending on how far I packed it. So what I ended up doing was I move it over to my other gas grill that's been off, so there's no heat. And then I've been putting like cheese and weird shit on a plate and cold smoking it.
Okay.
So like the other day, I put like a couple pieces of like thick, these thick cheddar squares off of a block, and I cut some of those and I put them on a plate. I put them on the grill, and then I put that hexagon smoke tube on there, and it's just billowing smoke like a smoker would, but there's barely any heat. And I let it go for like 30 minutes, and that cheese had such a smoke flavor on it. And I bagged it and I put it in the fridge. And the next day I just made like a grilled cheese with it.
Nice.
But it was awesome. It was so good. But I found now that I have that smoke tube that I end up like finding other ways to use it, like cold smoking stuff, or when that burn is over, if there's anything else you can do with it, use it up.
Evan, what temp did you do your salmon at?
Did the salmon at 185 for about 3 hours, and then it was about 20 degrees away, and I just ramped it up to 200, and in 10 minutes it was done, at the last bit. But it came out great. Did it on a cedar plank.
Fish. TikTok.
I don't know what that has to do with TikTok.
I think he's saying that TikTok would be just about as entertaining as us.
Right.
The longer we talk about smoked meats, the fewer listeners we have. I don't know. Maybe that's why people are here. Or it's late on a weeknight. I don't know.
That too.
But I should probably go soon. I got to get up early. I just got an email from Attic Brewing Company. The outdoor beer garden is open, and I believe they have a barbecue shop next door.
Oh.
I didn't have any barbecue yet, but that stuff's good. I met
like a road trip.
Yeah. No,
I got 2 racks of baby backs I'm doing on Saturday. Any tips?
Go.
All right.
225 for 3 hours, 3-4 hours.
I actually like the 3-2-1 method.
3-2-1.
3-2-1 has actually worked out pretty well for me.
Can't
I
go
actually
wrong.
sometimes might go 4 hours on that initial smoke because I'm doing it at such a low temperature recently. But 3-4 hours on a low smoke, just getting as much smoke. Those first few hours are when you really want to be tending to your electric smoker and refilling those chips and getting as much smoke, because that's when it's going to take that smoke flavor on.
Yeah.
That's when you're going to
After
get
that,
that smoke ring.
it's just heat. You don't need to smoke after that.
So, I mean, the consensus, I mean, is it like 225 you're at? I mean, I lost you there for a second.
Yeah, 200, 225, even up to 250, you're fine.
Yeah, I think personally when you're doing a 3-2-1 or something like that, keep it at 225 or lower when you're trying to figure it out. If it's a little less, it's not a big deal. Rub it up real good. I even on pork, sometimes I'll put mustard on before I rub it, especially pork butts.
I did that on the pork butt, yeah.
Yep. But on the ribs, probably just get a good rub on it, nice and thick. Let it go 3 or 4 hours, low, tons of smoke, and then wrap it up and throw some apple juice in there.
Yep.
Do yourself a favor, get some butcher paper.
Yeah.
Because tinfoil's gonna or parchment paper, but tinfoil's gonna kill your bark. Throw a tablespoon of butter in there.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, instead of using apple juice or apple cider vinegar, I actually just pour a little bit of beer in there, and I love it.
Yep. I've done beer. I've done orange juice too.
Oh, orange juice is a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. But
I've seen a lot of people use that but the squeeze margarine.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Butter's never gonna hurt.
No.
Me personally, I do like the bottom down for the first few hours, and then when I wrap it, I put the
you flip them,
and I put all that liquid in it. I put the top side down.
Yes, the top side sitting in the liquid to keep it moist.
Exactly, and then a lot of times after it's sat in there for a couple hours, and you pull that foil apart, you pull that butcher paper apart, that the meat shrunk off the bone a little bit. You can tell that you've gotten that the meat has contracted a little bit and things are going pretty well. And then I'll put it back on the grill as is for the last hour, and you can sauce it if you're a sauce guy, sauce it up. Sometimes I even turn the grill up a little bit so that it does end up like charring it or caramelizing that sauce a little bit.
Yeah.
You got to be careful though, because like once it gets that tender, usually it's almost fall apart ribs by the time you take it out of the foil or paper. So you got to be careful with your tongs and how you're moving it around. But
give it a pull test.
Yeah.
The baby bracks they're not too hard. You're in between 3 and 5 hours, you'd be good. It's not like dinosaur bones, the beef ribs. That's 7-8 hours for a set of ribs. I did a set of those recently. It's just like they're good, but they're a labor of love.
They look amazing.
Oh, it sounds. Oh my god, I want them right now. Wow.
So Fish is asking about the seasonings. I think it depends on the piece of meat. I was watching a cooking show. I've been obsessed with Ugly Delicious on Netflix.
Oh, a little David Chang. Yeah.
Chang.
Mm-hmm.
I love that show. I love David Chang. And you know what he reminds me of is he kind of, not completely, but he kind of reminds me of Mikey Miss in the way that I don't agree with him all the time, but I still like his delivery, and that he just always believes in what he believes in.
Yeah,
like when he loves like Domino's pizza.
Yeah, exactly. But he'll be like, listen, I don't like a white guy, that didn't go through all the shit that I went through cooking Korean food. Where my friends weren't coming to my house saying your house smells like garbage because they were fermenting kimchi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then he sees like a white guy that didn't grow up with that, cooking that food and having a successful restaurant. He doesn't like that as much. I disagree with that. I'm not saying anything about race. I'm saying that, like, if somebody, because I'm cooking pizza and I'm not Italian and wasn't trained by, Italians in Naples, a true
Doesn't
Neapolitan
mean
style.
you don't understand the food and the ingredients and the culture.
Exactly. It doesn't mean I can't, like, take a liking to it, become passionate about it, put my twist on it, and do the best I can to make what I like out of that style. I think anybody can do that and whatever. But, like, anyway, I like watching that show. And where was I going with this?
I'm not sure, but going back to Fish's question, like the seasonings before, you can stay with the Trinity, small salt, pepper, garlic.
Yeah.
That's always good. I add in some brown sugar on my ribs. Helps keep them a little sweet. Beef ribs, you don't need any sweetness.
Yep.
I like salt and pepper on beef.
What's that, Steve?
I like salt and pepper on beef. That's it.
Yep, that's it.
I think it's a McCormick rub, but I have it's like I think it's called a pork rub or something like that. And it's not a pork rub, but it's pretty much like a salt and pepper rub.
Yeah.
It has a little bit of lemon and a little bit of garlic in it, but it's mostly salt and pepper. And that one's been my favorite. Like, I'll put that heavy on brisket and stuff like that. That's usually just salt and pepper. And I love that. But that one's really good. When I'm doing pork, most times I'll brine it. I might not brine my next pork shoulder. I don't know if it's worth it to do that, but I'll do like heavy salt, brown sugar, orange juice, maybe some lime juice, and like maybe some thyme or some other seasonings, a little bit of garlic. But like, I'll make a big saltwater bath for the pork and chicken also. We do it for chicken, especially dark meat chicken. I think has been one of those things that always blows my mind. If I do heavy salt and brown sugar brine with some dark meat thighs or whatever, and then you grill it on the grill, they come out amazing.
Good.
I remember what I was going to say when I was talking about Ugly Delicious. Actually, I don't even think it was Ugly Delicious now that I think about it. It might have been Chef Show with John Favreau and Roy Choi. I think that's the name. But anyway, one of the chefs was saying, listen, you season something. Some people, all right, I'm going to add asparagus to my dish. And they'll cook asparagus and then add it to like their chicken and their bacon and whatever, and then season everything. He goes, you got to season the asparagus when you're cooking that. Because when you first put it on the grill and you first start cooking it, you're opening the pores, you're allowing things in. Don't be afraid to season things on every step of the process, because when you're comparing that against something else, that's going to taste like when you're in a marathon or you're in a sprint race and somebody finishes those few seconds ahead of you. That's going to be the difference.
Yep.
When you're seasoning things as you're cooking along the way, there's different depths. There's that little bit of seasoning that you put on the chicken, and then there's that seasoning that you put on this and that, and then you put it all on a pizza. Like, you've built these layers and depths of flavor along the way that by the time you get to that finished product, it's going to take it to that next level.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, having a good oil in the beginning.
Yeah,
especially for veggies.
Yep.
What do I use? I use from Wegmans. They used to have a braising oil, sunflower seed oil with herbs in it. Great for veggies.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's great. Broccoli, asparagus, zucchini. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, I did ribs this past weekend. Taylor came over Taylor and Jackie, and I didn't let Jackie eat while she was here. But Taylor, like, I ended up splitting a pig with the neighbor. The neighbor was like, "Hey, I'm gonna buy a pig off of a farmer. You want to split it with me?" I was like, "Sure." So we split it, and so I have like a ton. Like, and he doesn't like smoke stuff or cook stuff like that. So we traded a little bit. I gave him some ham steaks and some sausage back, and he gave me all the pork shoulders.
Okay.
And some other things like that. So I've got some like big, but I did the ribs recently. I did the sausage I've been using on pizzas. The meat has been fantastic, but I'm really excited to do the shoulders because like the one is like huge. It's got to be like, like a 70-pound pork shoulder. You know what I mean? Like not 70 pounds. I'm thinking like $70. You know what I mean? Like usually you get them for like $30 or whatever, depending on the price per pound. But like this thing is huge.
Is it like so I'm new to this, but I saw like they were like huge pork shoulders, and they were like pork shoulders and picnic, they were calling it. And it was like it was all together still. Not really sure what that is.
You gotta spend some time trimming.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it might not be trimmed as well. You probably got lots of bone in there.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Boston butt.
Yeah.
If you see Boston butt, that's what I like. It's just the top part of the shoulder, and it's a lot easier and smaller, especially if you're not cooking for 50 people.
Yeah.
They definitely go a long way. I cooked an 8-pounder last weekend. It freaking, oh my God. I couldn't imagine. I was blown away by the amount of pork that came out of that thing.
Yeah. For the three of you, you'll be eating that for 2 weeks.
It didn't last 2 weeks, but I just ate the last of it today. So, I mean, it lasted a solid 5-6 days.
If you do pulled pork, one thing you can do, split it in half, freeze the other half. When you're ready, thaw it out, and do a pulled pork casserole. Put the pulled pork in a pan, mashed potatoes and cheddar cheese on top, and throw it in the oven. It's awesome.
That sounds awesome.
It's a jack of all trades.
It's a great way to use that second half that you're not going to eat in the week before it goes bad.
I've been doing that a lot where like I'll cook, we'll eat, and then whatever's left, I've been bagging into like these like individual type bags. And sometimes if I'm like, oh shit, what am I going to have for lunch today? I can pull out a bag of that pork out of the freezer.
Yeah.
And what I do, it's like I call it like the rethermalizer, but like I'll do a big bowl of hot water.
Yeah.
In the sink and put it in there and let it thaw out and then cook it. Throw it in the skillet or whatever.
That's close to the way that a lot of other guys do it. It's they do the freezer bags, vacuum seal and stuff. They say boil it.
Yeah.
And that brings it back, and it's to be almost just like you just took it off the smoker.
Yeah. And then I'll throw it in whatever. Like, I don't know, man. Sometimes I'll just take like a bag of pulled pork out of the fridge and make like a quesadilla. I'll throw it on pizza. I'll make a sandwich, whatever. But it's like a nice quick lunch, and the shit still tastes good.
Yeah. I was reheating mine in the microwave. I would throw a little. I have a spray bottle full of it's orange juice concentrate. Like I took the stuff and thawed it, put it in a sprayer bottle. So I just spray that down real good before I microwave it, and it definitely helps enhance it when so it doesn't dry out.
Nice.
Yeah, I got a spray bottle, man, and I've been using it like crazy. It's just nice to always have. I got a little apple cider vinegar with water in there, and I've been using it on almost anything that I smoke or I'm cooking on that grill. I'll just keep it moist.
Yeah.
Before we wrap things up, have you guys been watching pretty much the whole show?
Yeah.
At least the first probably 40 minutes of it.
Okay. Well, what did you guys think of Equilibrium?
Love them.
Have you had their beers before, Sean?
Absolutely.
I'm sure you have.
Absolutely, yeah.
Cool guys.
Yeah.
Killer beers.
Mr. Steve, what did you think?
I think they're a set of guys that I'd like to hang out with.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I definitely like to get in with the barbecue and that whole that whole world is stuff that goes together really well. And I think that'd be a really cool hang.
You know, it was real funny because I've like I told Will, I kind of started noticing him on Instagram and people tagging him and him showing up at beer festivals and just always around. So I finally like friended him on Instagram and I started seeing all these posts. And I didn't really understand how he was involved with the brewery because he would show up at other breweries and like be a part, and he would be like the person that was maybe like a part of that collab. You know, like if he was at Other Half or he came to wherever, and he would be at that brewery and doing like and being like the representative of Equilibrium for that collab or whatever. But like I really didn't understand because he'd be traveling all over the country, all over the world, and I'm like, is he doing that on behalf of Equilibrium? Is he just fucking partying? Like he posts these things and he's just like getting after it. You know what I mean? Like having a blast. So I was gonna ask the lady who I was dealing with, Michelle, like, how is Will involved with your company? Because I don't really get it. And she ended up, before I had a chance to message her, she messaged me and said, hey, look, listen, Will's going to be joining instead of me. You'll have Pete, the brewer and co-owner, and then Will Rivera. And I was like, I'm fucking excited to talk about Window Seat Will.
He was a cool guy.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. I think I was surprised how outspoken Pete was. He had a lot of really cool things to say, and like you were saying, Sean, the stuff that got you excited, I was really excited about too. Like how they went and got their beer out and their hype out, and they would pass their beers out in lines and going out and doing that guerrilla style marketing. You know what I mean? They found people that are passionate. There's a concentrated amount of people that are passionate about beer, and you put your beer in front of them, and look how well it worked out. Like that's such a neat approach, and it's so unique from what you hear a lot of people say. And I love hearing Pete praise Will as much as he did. Like this guy went out there and got after it and did what he had to do to spread the brand. And I mean, they have fantastic beer, but they really promote it well and get that hype built. And I think that's a real big piece of it.
It is. I mean, there's a
social media these days.
There's a ton of people that homebrew that make great beer. The guy next to me right here, great beer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, you have to. There's a whole nother aspect to it. You know what I mean? There's a ton of guys out there that make great freaking beer. Like, I mean, the homebrew community is so huge. And but if you really want to dive into it and start a brewery, like there's just a whole nother side to it. And I'm not going to act like I'm an expert at it. Like I'm still figuring it out myself, but you have to build that hype. And I mean, you have to be able to back up that hype, but you have to be able to get it out there. There's just too many people and there's too much noise. Like if you can't make yourself known, it'll never work. And it's crazy hearing what they did. I'm like, it's just, that's the way to do it. I mean,
the parallels in the, there's so much that's so close.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, it's cool. Like I love hearing people's backstories and there's been so many people you've had on your
experience.
I don't know. There's some people that I'm like, man, it makes me feel kind of bad. Like I'm like, they have such a big, broad background and then they just ended up brewing beer. And I'm like, that's not us even a little bit. And then these are the first guys I think that have been like, wow, that's us. Just beer geeks that decided, you know what? Let's try to brew our own beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you got to keep at it. It's amazing with how many beers different beers you got to come up with. Like as a home brewer, it's like, got to brew what I like.
Yep.
Yeah, you brew the same beer 2-3 times in a row.
Yep.
Great. But now if you're feeding the public, you got to brew what the public wants to drink.
Yep.
Isn't it crazy though? Like,
You'll do that.
Yeah,
You do have to tailor to the public.
There's so many people out there that are probably making incredible beers that nobody really knows about because they either don't market it properly or they're just kind of doing it for themselves and not really, doing much about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. I would love to know, Sean, like if I don't know, like I want to like just like commission you guys to like brew me a sixtel.
Yeah.
Like how much would it be? And like let's come up with like a recipe or something and be like, I
told
would love a beer like this.
I told you we got to make a collab, a Might Be Brews collab.
We will for sure. I just I've been dying to get something on tap at my house, and I think it would be fun to just be like, hey, like let me help out a little bit, and let's like throw something together because I think it'd be cool to do like whatever grapefruit or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, that's
do something like that. Throw out a Might Be Brews fan beer.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Put it out in some cans with a collab logo and
like that's really like that next level shit right there. Like I said, there's so many guys that can make great beer, but like you have to be able to extend it into that next level. And like for us, like every dollar counts. So like that B Parts beer, like this label,
that's inexpensive.
I made that shit. Like I designed this label. Like I didn't force it. I fucking designed it.
You print it or did you have it printed?
I printed it too. I went online.
What did you print it on? Because I've been looking for something to print can labels on for the year I've had
I basically found like full page labels. Figured out a way to print 4 labels onto one page.
Okay. And then cut them.
Mom had a little paper, like a mini paper cutter, big, and I literally sat here and cut out like 140 fucking labels one night while I was watching the movie.
Yeah, I gotta look into that because I've been looking at getting labels made. I'm like, I'm not spending $300 for a roll of labels.
No, I spent like $30.
Myself, I'm only gonna can like, hey, you want a 6-pack? I'll can you up a 6-pack, or
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like that's the kind of thing like you. And then like the Facebook marketing, Instagram marketing, being able to like dip it and get it into the hands of people. Like for us, like I was talking about like the PA Brunette, she reached out to us and said, hey, I'd love to try your beer and rate it. I'm like, okay, here. I just sent it to her. And that was great, So it's like those are the kind of little things. Yeah. So I mean those are the things you gotta be able to do. There's a whole business side to it that not everybody is going to be comfortable doing.
Exactly. Most people start out to brew beer in a business, and then they end up running a business and hiring someone to brew the beer.
Yeah.
Because it's so much. It's too much to do at once.
See, I could see myself doing that, like getting away from brewing and just running the business. But as long as the person that's brewing
influence the beer that you want brewed.
Yeah, like I could see that. Like my whole life I've been looking for something that I could get behind where like it's my business, but like it's my product, And like the first time I've actually finally hit that point where like, okay, all right, that this works.
Yeah, that reminds me of Baldbirds. I think the guy kind of said that like he wanted to get into brewing and knew that a brewery would be a good business, but he wanted to. Like he ended up hiring somebody that he like interviewed people and hired a head brewer.
Yeah. I mean that's like the nitty gritty. I mean Evan knows like if you're brewing like that's the dirty work right there.
It is.
Yeah, like it's.
But it's also the fun work, like the business side. Being from a business owner, the business side sucks.
Yeah.
So like brewing beer is the fun part.
It is. Yeah. It is. But I guess it's how you approach it. I mean, like, and like also we're talking on a much larger level that I haven't experienced yet. So, you know, I'm sure everybody all the brewers that I know are always like, man, like they always joke about like, oh, don't start a brewery, you know, like I know they're joking, but at the same time, there's a little bit of truth behind that.
To it, yeah, it's an 80-hour-a-week job sometimes. It's I had Dylan from East Branch, I think it might have been him. It told me it was like owning a brewery is not a married man's job.
No.
You know, or a family man's job, because you spend so much time, if you don't have the right system, so much time there brewing.
Yep.
You know, because
I've heard people call it a glorified janitor because you spend so little time actually brewing the beer. It's either sitting in a tank or you're cleaning tanks out.
Yeah. You're a dishwasher.
Yeah.
You brew beer, you're a dishwasher.
Yeah. And I mean, Dylan has been like a great friend, a good ally for the show, all that stuff. But like, you know, I'm just trying to really be a benefit to him, even though they probably don't need it. But like when they say something like we're opening up outdoor seating and it's going to go like this, I text them and I'm like, hey, do you want to spend 10, 15 minutes on the show tonight and talk about how you guys are doing your outdoor seating?
If you can get him to
yes, he almost never can make it. I make fun of him. I'm like, you're the most.
I saw that on the last episode.
Yeah, I was like, you're like the flakiest dude who can like never show up and never, you know, commit to being on the show.
But he's like, one of the greatest guys you'll ever meet. You know,
he's so nice. He's incredibly hardworking. If you order beer, you're gonna get it pretty fucking soon.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But like, he's like, dude, I'm gonna be working till like 8:30, 9 o'clock. Like, maybe I can make it on if I can get home in time or get back in front of a computer at a decent time. But it just depends. But yeah, he's completely working his ass off, and I know all those guys are. You know, trying to stay
and it's tough right now for all of them. You know, for all the breweries out there, pulling weird hours, delivering beer.
Yep, it's strange times, but
you know we looked at doing it. You know, we thought about you know closing our business and like, hey, let's open a brewery. But how do I walk away from 42 years of business?
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, just to go out on a whim and like, yeah, well. We like making it, but we like to have every friend in the business locally. You know, be able to help them out any way we can with our services and run with it. Like mixing work with pleasure.
For sure. I worked for that heating oil and propane business that was out of like Exton in the Phoenixville area. And I took a lot of pride in that. You know, I was kind of I started to become the face of the business.
Really?
I was out there, you know, meeting with other companies and other businesses and doing the fall fests where I'm, you know, was working with Sean's dad and things like that, where like I started to feel like I was, you know, we were becoming part of the community and people knew us as a down-in-town brand or a Chester County brand. And it was really cool. Like it's hard to like want to turn away from that. You know what I mean? When like you've built these relationships, you're friends with other businesses.
We've been out of Downingtown since 1988. It's like some of these customers we had since then. How do we turn away these personal customers that trust us with so much?
Yeah.
You know, so hopefully we'll be fourth generation, you know, in 10 years.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, man, I don't know. I'm thinking it's about time to wrap it up.
Yeah, it's fucking that time.
Mr. Steve, I have those same headphones, and I could not find them before this podcast.
What'd you do with them?
I don't know. They're MIA.
Mr. Steve stole them shits.
He sounded so good in them. I was like, what did you get? Yeah, and either you or Jamie texted me the link, and I ordered them like within 5 minutes. Like you guys were here at the house, and I ordered them.
Might as well check under your kids' beds because they snuck them from.
It's probably where it is. Like I ordered them, I got them, I tried them on. I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Next podcast, and couldn't find them.
Hey, just
lighting it all.
who knows who's listening right now? But happy Father's Day to all the dads out there.
Happy Father's Day, everybody.
Okay.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun, man. I've been really enjoying the guests lately. I think, Equilibrium, Night Shift, Marcus from Weathered Souls, Wallen Pompack. It's been a lot of fun. And but I don't know. What do you guys think about that social media thing? Like, I almost wanted to try to pull that off for this episode. And but then like when I thought about that Equilibrium news, I was like, I'm going to try to pull that off instead.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Media one would be cool. All those influencers, and there's a ton of them out there if they're willing to talk.
Yeah, there's a lot of them that I follow when I interact with online, and I think if I, sent the feelers out and tried to get, if I talk to 5 or 6 of them, maybe 3 or 4 of them will show up.
Pictures is one thing, talking is another thing.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. I know I've talked to I think her name is like Elle or Ella. Now I'm not going to remember her name.
Is that the Sip on What girl?
Yeah, Sip on What. She's incredibly friendly. A lot of fun to chat with and talk to. I'm hoping she might do it. I would love to get Hoppy Floppy, but I mean, if she shows up on screen like she shows up on Instagram, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Just keep your camera up this high.
Yeah, right. Nobody sees my hands.
Look at face too. She's a pretty girl.
See what's that going on?
Easy there.
But yeah, and it's like I commented earlier, like Hoppy Sloppy. They had Preston and Steve like 2 years ago.
I remember that.
An interview. He kept a mask on when they had him on camera because he doesn't want to. I think his wife doesn't want people to know who he is.
Yep.
But still, he's got a pretty good following too. It's interesting.
Yeah, he does. No, yeah, I think it's such a fascinating world that I'll probably need your help, Mr. Steve, maybe coming up with some questions and some things on like how to word things and how to get more than like 4 or 5 questions out. Like, what's it like being an influencer in beer and then like not knowing what else to say?
Drinking beer and taking pictures.
Yeah, who takes those pictures?
Who takes those pictures?
That's a good point. Yeah, stuff like that. I don't know. We'll have to put some more thought into it. But I think it's time to wrap it up tonight. Big shout out to Equilibrium. Pete and Will were so much fun. We had a blast talking to them. They're almost as much fun as their beers are. Sean and Steve, always fam guys. You guys are a staple of this show. But it's always a blast to talk to you. And Evan, man, it's been a while. Always chat. Had you on the screen in a while, but it's so good to see you and to chat with you.
Let's get something going when we go green or whenever.
Yes. Yeah, oh my God, I would love that. We have to get together and
if we do something where if we know enough ahead of time, I'll bring something smoked from the smoker and
I was talking to the neighbor. My neighbor's cooking pizza. I was like, yo, you cook pizzas, I'll cook pizzas, and we'll exchange them. Or we'll sit down and do a little pizza thing. But like it would be a blast if like
I'll bring some smoked meat and some beer.
Steve, you do some pork or you do some of them beef ribs. Sean and Evan, you do what you're good at. Bring some beers.
Or that mac and cheese.
Whatever. Oh, the mac and cheese is legit. Yeah, I think it would be a blast. So Fish, thank you for hanging out. Maybe you'll get an invite. You will see. But it's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you, everybody, for watching, for sharing, for the support. We love you guys. Thank you so much. And we'll talk to you next time. Have a good night, brothers.
See ya.
See ya.